All right, welcome everybody back to another 13 card subject to change. I'm Leroy, as here I'm always here. It's fun that way. And I have Zach. And
Is the microphone on?
It is on. If you
can hear me?
could see how he is there, he's itching to get a few things off his chest about.
No.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's get to the good stuff first.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we're just wait, you people. We're gonna have to put a parental advisory on this one again.
Oh my god.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
welcome back, everybody. Today on the show, as we said last week, we're going to be reviewing nights 2 of the ratings war. I guess is what we're calling it now, the Wednesday Night Wars. Great American Bash Night 2 and Fighter
we know
Fest,
who won.
With a Y. For those of you who don't know, we'll just get right into it. NXT once again won the ratings war. However, if you're asking anyone on the Spot Monkey side, we won the demo, and I'm sitting here saying, I'm going to be very clear to all of you. You guys keep losing the total, and TNT is not going to come to you in 4 years and offer you more money. Okay? You're on a Wednesday night, which is like the 4th or 5th most watched night on television. TNT could give a rat's hairy behind about what kind of ratings you're bringing in as long as you're top 25 on television, which isn't hard to do considering it's Wednesday. Nobody watches TV on Wednesday anyway.
Well, the demo, it's like a certain group.
17 to 34, I think, is the demo.
Yeah.
Or 17 to 49.
7 to 49.
Yes.
So we're in that demographic. There isn't that many of us. And if they're talking about just males or are they talking about both? I don't know. But just having that down, whatever.
Anyway, so,
let's talk about the better show.
Yep. Also, we didn't get a chance to last week. We're going to get into the Raw and SmackDown recaps. We're going to get ready for Extreme Rules Horror Show, which, in my opinion, is actually being built a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. Especially, surprisingly, this, in my opinion, this might be the most impressive build Braun's had so far as Universal Champion.
I do agree.
But I think that's more the opponent. But anyway, we're going to start with the first part, I'm just going to say it, the good part of the Wednesday Night Wars.
Yes.
Leroy, have you watched Night 2 of the Great American Bash?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did check it out, yes.
So instead of our normal idea here, I'm actually going to list them for you, and I want you to say what you thought, and I'm gonna give a little bit of a response more to what you have to say, because I'm obviously pent up with a bunch of rage, aggression, and pissed offness for something else. So anyway, moving on. Opening match: Tony Nese versus I've tried to come up with a name for him, and I feel like the name I was going to have in our current culture is not going to be good. I was going to call him the Whipping Boy, which is probably not the best way to put him. But at this point, I'm just going to call. At this point, I'm just going to call him the Crash Test Dummy, Leon Ruff, who apparently is one of the only few people still left due to quarantine in NXT, and his job is to literally just get his ass kicked for about 15 minutes every single. Night. But anyway, your thoughts on Tony Nese versus Leon Ruff? I mean, did Tony Nese... Because obviously we know Leon Ruff is an enhancement talent right now. He's kind of getting built up there. But, I mean, Tony Nese... Did Tony Nese look like Tony Nese?
I think so. Yeah.
He's known as the premier athlete. And we all know that, I mean, he looks like a guy who would probably be a powerhouse, but he certainly, in my opinion, can go in the Cruiserweight division.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, he is good. I've seen him in a few different other times, and I do enjoy watching him. He's good in the ring and everything. I said,
it's really hard. You know, a lot of people out there who might think to ourselves, okay, you guys sometimes skip over matches because you didn't actually watch. No, it's just, I'm not going to sit here and move for move analyze a match that just did what it was supposed to. At the end of the day, Leon Ruff got his ass kicked. We're trying to build Tony Nese back up because he was swept out of the Cruiserweight tournament. So it's one of these things where if a match does what it's supposed to, I'm not going to sit here and give an opinion that is literally, oh, it was a nice match, good job, Tony Nese did this move, that move. I'm not going to sit here and analyze this move by move, okay? Like that's not what I'm going to do. If I'm going to rip you a new one for not making sense in a match, I'll do it move by move all friggin' night, but that's not the point.
Well, if we do that, we're going to have like a 4 or 5 hour show.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And I don't want that.
So the match that was built last week based on a backstage, well, there were 2 matches built on a backstage brawl, but Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim in a street fight. Your thoughts?
I thought they put on one hell of a match. I mean, They did really good. I mean, I don't know if this ends the round with these guys. I hope not.
Well, the thing about it is, for me, is like now I think what's going to end up happening, and we'll talk about the match that he had on the show a little bit later. Now I think because Keith Lee is the dual champion, depending on what they do with Adam Cole, we'll talk about that once we've confirmed a few things on Adam Cole. Because ever since the match, apparently a ton of stuff has come out. A bunch of different sites are reporting that his deal isn't up in August. His deal is apparently for almost an entire more year and a half. Other sites, and again, these are reputable sites. Like, I mean, Bleacher Report, places like that.
Yeah.
They're saying stuff like, "Oh, he's already re-signed." Well, no one's confirmed anything, so we're not going to speculate on Adam Cole right now until we can get more information. But I feel like Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, they both came off big wins on this show. Maybe Johnny goes after that. You bring Mia back into the fray because obviously, since Keith Lee was busy on this night too, we move into an. Bronson Reed faced Tony Nese. So Tony Nese twice on this match, twice on the show. Was he there?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him twice on this show, but this is the way I printed it out, and I was like, there was no time on one, and then time on the other. So
so anyway,
I don't know what the hell.
So anyway, I remember there being Bronson Reed versus Tony Nese. Bronson Reed's a really big guy who I think has a lot of potential if you can figure out a way to bring him in, because I don't know if you want to bring him in. Like, I don't know if he's capable of doing what a Keith Lee does yet.
No, I don't think so yet. I've not seen him too many times, just a couple times, and he's a big guy.
He kind of jobbed the Karrion Kross for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
but anyway, so Bronson Reed defeated Tony Nese. There was that. Okay, so yeah, like we mentioned earlier, Johnny Gargano faced Isaiah Swerve Scott. For those of you who don't know, formerly Killshot from Lucha Underground.
Oh, it is?
Same guy.
Oh,
yep.
I have to check that out again.
Yep.
Take a better look at him. I remember him there.
Anyway, so Johnny Gargano defeated Isaiah Swerve Scott, which again, at this point, I think Johnny Gargano has been built really well in this new role. He's the former heart and soul of NXT caliber guy when he faces off against guys like Isaiah Swerve Scott, but then he looks like the little kind of gimmicky like heel when he faces off against the big guys. So I mean, I feel like they're doing to Johnny Gargano what they need to do with Johnny Gargano in order to make him believable.
Oh yeah, definitely. They are doing a good
because
job.
Because they built him so much as the heart and soul. And I see what bothers me, and this is kind of maybe lazy editing, is when they still talk about NXT being We Are NXT, and they keep showing the video packages to like sell merchandise. They still show the video of Johnny hyping up the crowd after one of his matches, and I'm just like, I would take that out right now because I don't want him to be associated with the We Are NXT. I want him to be associated with the Gargano way of NXT.
Oh, definitely, yes. It's like, come have dinner with us. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, yes. And then of course, your thoughts on the 6-man tag team match, which, in my opinion, again, this entire show, I really hate to say it, it made sense because every match did what it was supposed to do.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
None of these matches, in my opinion, were finalities.
No.
Other than maybe Cole versus Lee.
Yeah, that's the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so the 6-man tag match.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. I mean, it's like it's always good 6-man. I enjoy so many guys in there and stuff like that, and they know how to do a multi-man tag team.
Yeah.
Well, we'll discuss that other idiot show later, but yeah. I mean, they did a good job. I mean, what more they're gonna do with Breezango? I mean, I think they're better down in NXT than they were on the big show.
Well, and my thing about it is that okay, so they had them. So it's a weird booking, but Breezango comes back. They win a shot at the tag titles. Imperium basically wipes the floor with them, for the most part.
Pretty much.
In my opinion, that that momentum was definitely on Imperium's side. And then they have them involved in this because obviously Drake Maverick needed backup, but this is more Drake Maverick versus the world.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
So I don't know if Breezango is coming in because the thing. I mean, it'd be different in my opinion if Legado del Fantasma had the tag titles, but I don't think you're going to see Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. I don't think they're taking the belts off Imperium right now.
No, they're not going to do that. No,
Imperium story-wise, kayfabe-wise, they're just built as a different kind of tag team right they're so different than everybody else, and they're first of all, both are very extremely talented. I'm not going to.
Oh yes, they are.
But anyway, Mercedes Martinez finally made TV in NXT. 20-year vet against Santana Garrett, who a little talented in the ring, still a little blasé on the character there. But I mean, did Mercedes Martinez come in and look like the badass to you? I mean, like it. I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's good to put her in there with somebody so young. I mean, it helps the younger talent out there, as they always say.
Actually, Santana Garrett's not that young of a talent. Fairly a decent veteran in the business. She just kind of hasn't had a lot of TV time for NXT. In my opinion, I would have booked it more dominant for Mercedes Martinez. It's not that I'm trying to bury Santana Garrett, but when you're trying to build somebody, look.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Let me just say, okay. Let me just get to a backstage business side of things for like 2 seconds before we move on. Sorry to interrupt before the big match, but it's just one of those things where here's the deal. At some point, there is somebody who, on name alone, whether it's talent or not, is going to be picked to be built bigger than you. It's going to happen, especially if you're not a star like Santana Garrett is. So, anytime you're on TV and they give you, what was it, 2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes, yeah.
They give you any amount of time just to be seen. Okay, you can show off a little bit of athleticism, but it's not really a character development time. That's not what it's meant to do. Okay? So, she didn't get buried. Mercedes Martinez was there to beat the living crap out of Santana Garrett. I think that you could have had her look a little more dominant. Yes, it was a very short period of time, but I feel like Santana Garrett looked like she was a little too equal to Mercedes Martinez. I personally would have booked it a little bit differently. I mean, that's just me. Because, again, in 2.5 minutes, I'm not looking to create a rivalry.
Oh, no, it's kind of a squish.
I'm squash, basically. Yeah, no, I'm trying to do that. Now, let's get to the match of the night, and in my opinion, it was probably my favorite match on both shows. Because we all know,
I do agree with
how
you.
I felt about Fyter Fest.
Well, yeah,
we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, winner takes all. Keith Lee did win, which apparently was the spoiler that the member of Indoshir did put on his Twitter. Don't have any news on the backstage of that. All I know is one report was backstage they're furious with him. Well, no shit, dude. You basically spoiled the ending of one of their... And interesting enough, I guess... Okay, crazy story. Fyter Fest, last I checked on the internet, there were no spoilers for Fyter Fest. But there was a spoiler for the biggest match on NXT. And they still won the ratings war. Both sides, I think, lost like 33,000 people or around that. But obviously the spoilers didn't make people change the channel. Obviously, or maybe it did, and they saw that it was Chris Jericho versus, I guess, a seriously squeezed Orange Cassidy. I don't really know how to say it.
Something like that, yeah.
We'll get that in a second. But just, obviously spoilers didn't matter. A lot of people knew Keith Lee was going to win, but they obviously, either did what you and I did and ignored it, or they tuned in to watch and were still impressed by the match. Your thoughts on Keith Lee going over on Adam Cole?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I picked him to win last week. I said, I think Keith was going to win. I mean, I think it's great for him. I mean, he is great. His skill. He's a big guy, and he can move like a smaller guy. He's great in the ring, and he is good at, as we love, he telling that story in the ring. Yeah, he is doing so good with different people.
And like, here's the thing: there's a couple of things at work backstage here that people I don't think factored in. Okay, number one, I remember listening to Jim Cornette talk about Keith Lee versus Roddy Strong. And Roddy Strong, as we all know, whether it was the UE or whatever was going on, Roddy Strong retained that title from Keith Lee a couple of times. But as we've learned, sadly, through, I'd say, some rough moments in Big Show's career, Andre was different, but Andre was different at the time.
Yes, yeah.
In that day and age, Andre was by himself. But I've seen it a lot of times with Big Show, and I've seen a lot of times with actually Vader as well, which is why I think Vader never got to the level that I think people think he got to when they're not actually looking at his resume. Not that I don't love Vader, don't get me wrong.
He's great.
Love him to death, but may he rest in peace. But Jim Cornette said it best. When you have a giant, and Keith Lee's a giant compared to Roddy Strong.
Oh, yes, he is, totally.
You can only deny a giant what he wants for so long in the wrestling business before it just doesn't seem like he's going to get it. And I feel like with Big Show, he got so close to the world title so many times, and they maybe had it go on one too many times. Sadly, in my opinion, the biggest match I guess he got in WWE, even though he is a former champion. I mean, I'm not going to say
yes, he is, yeah.
But I think the best build he got was sadly that crappy reboot of ECW that they did, which, you know, sadly that was kind of at a weird time period for Show.
Yeah, I think it was. It was an interesting time in the way they did that. So,
but anyway, okay, so backstage, I think it was time for Keith Lee to finally go over. Even though, while yes, you and I are going to sit here and agree, physically there ain't nothing left for Keith Lee to master, do, no matter what. I mean,
no, I don't think so at all.
Physically, I think he's where he needs to be. Personality wise, I think he's still green. I think there's a lot of work to be done to turn him into... Because again, everyone sits there and says, well, okay, but Brock Lesnar has no personality. Brock Lesnar doesn't need personality.
Oh, he doesn't.
Because don't get me wrong. Keith Lee is a once in a lifetime type of talent, generational talent type of guy, but it still isn't the mystique of Brock Lesnar. It's not. Brock Lesnar is still Brock Lesnar because of everything Brock's built. We don't know Keith Lee at this point in time. Brock Lesnar was recruited straight out of college by WWE. However, they wanted him to stay at University of Minnesota to try to win a national championship, which he did.
Yes,
dominantly, by the way. But it's just one of those things where I just think that you can't sit here and tell me Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar have the same mystique. It's not a thing. I'm not going to believe it. Because in my opinion, Brock Lesnar just turned 43 recently. Brock Lesnar is still, I would say, in as good a shape as any human being at 43 can be.
He's a good old country boy.
So it's like, okay, but no, Keith Lee, I think, needs to grow the character a little more. I think he needs to find a voice because he's very soft-spoken for a giant.
Yeah, he is very...
It's interesting to me because I think Dominik Dijakovic is... the package you want in a big man. He can, he sounds like a big man. He, wrestles kind of like a big man. He's definitely got some flippy stuff in him, and he's got some more athleticism than most guys. But I think that when you bring him up to the main roster, you kind of slow him down a little bit. And maybe you'll be, type of deal there. Because I think the biggest problem that's happened with NXT call-ups is everyone tries to be what they were in NXT, but the main roster's different.
Yeah, they got to go up there and reinvent themselves.
Well, but here's the deal, though. Everyone says, well, Ricochet's still flipping, but Ricochet doesn't have another level. I mean, it's a big level. I'm not knocking Ricochet. His special 365 was phenomenal. And people have to realize, everyone's like, well, where's he been? Y'all realize that 365, which encompassed his debut on Raw all the way up to his title loss, that was his first year. He hasn't been in WWE. It's not like he was in WWE for 5 years, reached that United States title, and then boom, they're done with him. He was there for a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he still has time left, and he even said it himself in the documentary. I'm not one of these guys where I'm going to show up and I'm going to fizzle out. I'm going to be here for a while, which to me tells me he is willing to let ebb and flows come to his career. He's going to take periods that people are like, well, you're not on TV, and just take it as, okay, but when I get that shot again, you're going to see me. That's what I feel the situation
yeah,
is.
Definitely, yeah. He has to
I think
find a good spot for him.
I think that with Keith Lee, he has to find a personality. Physically, he's fine. But going back to NXT call-ups, if Dominik Dijakovic goes up there, turn him into an Undertaker. And what I mean by that is, remember, Taker even said during the last ride, which we'll get into here in the coming weeks, he was a slow, methodical character. Matches were really slow and wasn't too much pace. Then he got whipped off the ropes and he came in with a flying clothesline, and you were like,
"You can move."
Whoa, where did that come from? What was your reaction the first time that you saw that man do the flying clothesline?
Oh, see him doing that or jumping over the top rope. I was like, what the heck is that guy doing?
And
The big guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it... But, again, this is where Taker still gets it better than most people. And everybody wants to say Vince doesn't know how to use these guys. Well, maybe you can't adapt to what he needs. Because the thing about it is that... Are we... Okay, so we're sitting here, and... Okay, so we're honestly going to say Vince is so out of touch that... So, are we going to say Undertaker was a bad gimmick? Are we going to say Undertaker didn't work?
The best gimmick ever in wrestling history.
Look, I'll talk about this when we get to some stuff on Fyter Fest, but when you get to that point, sometimes you got to slow it down. You have to be able to tell a better story. But NXT is known as a high-flying, crazy-ass show. So if I'm booking Dominic Dijakovic, and yeah, we're a little off topic, that's what we do. If I'm booking Dominic Dijakovic, I know you can step on the middle rope and flip over the top rope and fall on guys at 7 feet, whatever the hell you are. I know you can go to the top rope and do a superplex. But maybe save those moments? Maybe be a big, dominant big man on TV, and then when we get to pay-per-view, then you can pull out the moonsault? I don't really know, but it's just one of those things where it's like there's a reinvention that needs to happen when you go up a level, because it is up a level, because the production's different, everything's unique.
Oh yeah, it is,
totally. And remember when AJ Styles debuted, he didn't go to NXT. He went to the main roster night one, and he had to figure out on the fly day one, this is your camera. Make sure you hit this spot by this point in your music. Make sure you do this, this, and this. And he had to do it live with the camera on. He couldn't go to tapings. He didn't have promo class. Can you imagine AJ Styles in a promo class? Some 22-year-old former football player learning promos, and next to him is AJ freaking Styles.
You'd be like, "What are you doing
here?
Oh
my God!
You don't need to be here."
No. But no, I mean that's just my thing. Is I think it was the right time for Keith Lee. That's number one. Number two, going back to what I'm saying, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Number two, we don't know the contract situation of Adam Cole. We don't. We have no clue what's going on.
Yet, no.
So we're not even. So you know what? We're not even going to comment further on that. And number three, what was Cole's title reign? Like 400 some days.
Yeah, over a year. I mean, that's a damn good title reign, no matter what.
So at that point, again, and honestly, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Was Cole not the biggest star name wise in NXT?
Right then, yeah, he is.
Okay, so this goes back to what I've said many, many times. You and I have had this conversation off camera before. Why not end something at a peak? Why does it have to plateau and then valley before you end it?
Well, just like going back to John Elway, went in his last Super Bowl and retired. Go out on top. Yeah, Adam Cole.
You want to play a couple more years of bad football?
Yeah, I know. It's like Adam Cole. He went on top, did a damn good match.
Crazy story that I actually heard on a talk show. I forget which talk show, but Hugh Jackman was asked about Logan. Great movie, by the way. Fantastically done.
Oh yes.
And he said, "You'll never guess who convinced me to end my run as Wolverine." It was Seinfeld.
Really?
Jerry Seinfeld.
That's kind of different.
Because he asked. First of all, Seinfeld has made more money on reruns than it ever made when it was on TV. But,
he definitely has.
But again, Seinfeld was a unique type of show. My girlfriend probably won't enjoy Seinfeld the way I do, but I like situational comedy. I like a show like Seinfeld that literally, as they had the conversation in the booth one time, it was a show about nothing.
Yes.
It was a show about nothing. There was no ongoing story. There was a random girlfriend here or there or boyfriend, but there was nothing there.
Well, the only thing ongoing was the four main characters. That's it.
99% of the plot of Seinfeld was Jerry and Elaine used to date, now they're friends, and there's no real mention of it ever again, except as casual friends. Most of the drama / plot never happened because they just talked about it.
Yeah.
But my point is that Hugh Jackman was told by Jerry Seinfeld, because he asked Jerry Seinfeld, what was it like to end the show? And Jerry said, we ended on top. There was more in the tank for the show Seinfeld.
Yeah.
But They ended when they were still one of the top 10. I don't have numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they were still one of the top ranked TV shows when they decided to end. One of the worst series finales I've ever seen. Horribly done.
Series finales are not great,
but it's one of those scenarios where ended on top, which is what Hugh Jackman did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely did.
He was the Wolverine. He had come off a couple of X-Men movies where like he was built up to be the Wolverine. Wolverine was still a top-ranking superhero. Everyone was kind of into it. It was really the only thing saving the X-Men series at that point because a lot of the X-Men movies were meh. I didn't hate them, but they weren't like Marvel-level quality X-Men movies.
No.
Sony needs to just drop the X-Men, in my opinion, but that's a conversation for a different day.
They're going to be brought into the universe.
Yeah, but anyway, no. If you're Adam Cole, baby, you were the guy. So if you go out on top, you can't say that you've peaked. You can't say that you ended because you had valleyed. There was no... Because in my opinion, I think Adam Cole could have kept climbing as the NXT champion.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they decided to pull it. They pulled the plug. So now Adam Cole, even though it was 400 and X some days, I think that Adam Cole's title reign as the NXT champion, first one, I don't know if there's going to be a rematch. We don't know what's going to happen. I think that even though it was the greatest NXT title reign of all time, can't say there might not be an asterisk next to it of what could have been?
Possibly, yes. If he would have been more, but what would be his next challenge after Keith Lee? That's it.
But that's my point, Leroy, is we're now sitting here saying what else could Adam have done instead of Adam was done. There is a big, and for all of you out there who are questioning what I'm saying, we just watched a giant documentary called The Last Ride. Where the only reason why there wasn't one episode was because Undertaker said, "I'm going out on he can still do it," versus he's done it.
Yes.
We just had a freaking 5-part documentary series that chronicled a man who couldn't give up on "Am I done?" or "What can I still do?" So I think this is a mystique to Adam Cole. I think it's good for him. So that's the second and third thing. The fourth thing backstage is maybe because Raw's having trouble with ratings, maybe because of where we are in the pandemic and the quarantine situations, maybe it's time to move the UE. Maybe it's time to get them on Raw and SmackDown. Maybe it's time that they show up and they dominate something else. Because again, Adam Cole maybe could put on a little more muscle tone and maybe he'd look a little better for TV. But again, I'm not here to analyze what they look like, but we all know that's part of wrestling. And that's not Vince's fetish or his weird thing. That's just how the game works. Hulk Hogan was who he was because he looked like the Hulk.
Oh, yeah. His look, he's huge, big. That's what
24-inch pythons is a literal thing that is part of the mystique of the character Hulk Hogan. So it's one of those scenarios where, and I'll talk about this when we get to a match that happened on Fyter Fest, you gotta look like a wrestler. I'm sorry, you do.
Oh, you definitely do, yes.
Okay? Being a professional wrestler is two things. Guys want to be you. Women want to be with you. That's part of the mystique of wrestling. This goes back to what Jim Cornette said about a lot of the guys back in the 80s. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and say that there weren't sexual assault issues in the 80s. I'm not going to say that. But there were certain guys in the 80s that didn't need to sexually assault a woman in order to get them, because 9 times out of 10 they had 4 groupies that wanted to go back to the hotel room anyway. Yeah. So just because Joey Ryan's a pathetic loser who doesn't have groupies following him around doesn't mean that, Ric Flair had any issue with that. By the way, do you think that if there was any sort of allegations against Ric Flair, they would have come out by now?
Probably.
Ric Flair did not have to sexually assault a woman to get her to go back to the... Ric Flair has closed down every small town from here to Hell, Michigan. I don't care what anyone says.
And any woman's going to complain that they've been with Ric Flair? Probably not. Unless it was really bad.
And that's not a chauvinistic statement because, again, Ric Flair was a rock star that women wanted to be with. And by the way, if Ric Flair came across a woman who... And again, I'm not trying to be anti-feminist. I'm just trying to tell the truth. If there was a moment where a woman felt like she was, insecure or didn't want to be with Ric Flair, or she felt she was too good for Ric Flair, Ric Flair ain't going to spend 2 more minutes on you. Ric Flair's going to move on to the next girl down the bar.
You'd be like, okay, we're done. Boom, hello.
But again, that was the culture. Ric Flair didn't need to do those kinds of things. Good. Thank you. Anyway,
the neighbor dog, you know. Oh,
yeah.
He sounds excited out there.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know how that picked up well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, but no, it's just that's my thing. Is all the things that have to go on right now is Adam Cole could be moving up, he could be gone. Keith Lee, it was probably time, not necessarily because he was ready as a whole character, but because you can only deny a guy like Keith Lee for so long before everyone loses. Well, and again, this is why, Jim Cornette said this about Vince Russo down in TNA, and this was the problem with bad booking in TNA. You don't beat the only real Latin American star you have in a company. It's kind of an unwritten rule in American wrestling, because then the Latin audience loses faith in them and they stop watching.
Well, I did like how they ended, him in the ring with all that, with the belts.
Oh, it was great.
And then also up in the production booth or whatever, or where are they coming? Carrying Cross
with a cameraman,
with Scarlett, and it's like, hey, that is a great little teaser of what could be next.
And here's the thing, I don't think it's going to be a one-off. I know Karrion Kross has been dominant, but remember, outside of a decent 5-minute match with Bronson Reed, Karrion Kross hasn't really faced anybody. No. Now he's going after the big fish. So what I see is, if this goes back and forth between him and Keith Lee, it's believable because they're both kind of equals, physically at least.
Oh, physically, yeah. And yeah, I definitely has to go more than one. I mean, one pay-per-view ain't going to be able to do it. No. We got to do a good couple months of back and forth. And
but this is
whatever,
the worry that I've seen some people, especially in the lounge, that have talked about is, why put the belts on Keith Lee if he's just going to drop one or two to Karrion Kross so quickly? And I'm like, but here's the deal. Keith Lee versus Adam Cole without the UE, Adam Cole winning. Look, Adam Cole's technically sound and he can talk well, but physically it just doesn't make sense that he's going to outdo Keith Lee more than once. So, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't think they'll do that.
So the way I look at it is, like you said, what would you say, like 2 pay-per-views maybe? Like 1 or 2?
I think at least a couple. Okay. I think they'll be able to get the story across.
But that's the thing. You can tell a story because physically, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross are bulls.
Oh, God, yes.
It's not a bull versus a sheepdog. It's a bull versus a Texas Longhorn bull. They're going to lock horns, and I'm going to believe it because physically it makes sense. Adam Cole, sorry, I love Adam Cole, baby, but physically he doesn't match Keith Lee. He doesn't, because he just doesn't look like Keith Lee.
Well, no, yeah, he's a smaller guy, and in the match he did what a smaller guy needs to do against a bigger guy.
Also, interesting thought here, and and I'm going to ask you this. So Fox talked about all the minority champions that are now in WWE. I know what's recently happened in the world. We talked about it in a past episode.
Yeah.
Do you think any of those champions are there solely to push the black agenda? I think it's actually they're all there because it makes sense and they're all worth it. I mean,
well, they're definitely worth it if they're doing it.
You had to put a title on Apollo Creed.
Yes,
it was time. He needed a title.
Oh yeah.
The New Day, they're tag team champions. They're tag team specialists. It's what they do. Keith Lee, we've already mapped out what Keith Lee's doing. But it's just one of those things that, in my opinion, I look at the African American champions that we have right now. I don't think. I mean, okay, do I know the business? No. Is it oddly timed? Yes. But
it's oddly timed, but it's timed out.
It all makes sense
at the right time.
It all works.
Oh yeah.
You've got guys as champions
that can pull it off.
And it makes sense.
Yeah, they're not.
Keith Lee, it was time to move him up because Keith Lee, regardless of what has happened with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, he was already on the upturn. We already knew that.
Oh, yes, definitely.
The New Day are always going to be in the tag team title picture. There's no denying that part, as long as they keep them together. But, I mean, okay, you're okay. So this has kind of been your show. Overall, out of 5, what do you give just Great American Bash Night 2? In my opinion, the weaker of the 2 nights overall, but I would say each main event for Great American Bash was on equal footing.
Oh, definitely. I think I'm going to give it 4.5.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, that's fair.
And definitely the strong part of both is 5-star matches
Both
to end the shows both nights.
Yes, without doubt.
Watching. The spots.
And Dave Meltzer, I don't give a goddamn rat's hairy ass about your freaking stupid reviews about the main events, dude. If you're gonna tell me, because again, I feel like Dave is so caught up in Spot Monkey and wanting to be liked by the young bucks who named their finisher after him because he kept giving them all these wonderful reviews or whatever the hell it was. And if anyone out there who thinks I messed up the story, I don't actually know the story because I don't give a rat's hairy flippin' behind about why Dave Meltzer's name is on their frickin' finisher. For the first time in wrestling history, I think a frickin' dude who writes for a wrestling column actually gets acknowledged by the frickin' wrestlers and somebody cares? No. He wants to be liked by the new kids on the block. And I'm like, dude, Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks was phenomenal. That is 5 stars out of 5 stars any night of the goddamn week. And Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, at worst, was a 4.5-star match. At worst.
Yeah.
I definitely think Io versus Sasha was the better of the 2. But that's only because I feel like Io tells such an amazing story. Shout out to her fiance as well, Evil, who is now the dual champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll have to start featuring a little New Japan here on the show in the coming weeks. We're definitely going to have to do that. But anyway, also now a member of the Bullet Club. So
yes, that is true. Yes,
so that's now a thing. But anyway, so okay, you've got 4.5 for only night 2, or is that overall Great American Bash?
I get 4.5 for the whole thing. Okay. I mean, there's a couple misdirect. It wasn't perfect, but it was great.
Week 2, I'll admit the undercard definitely felt like it was thrown together.
I think it kind of was. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, but again, I'm going back to what I keep saying about storytelling. Every single match kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I could follow them. I understood the story that was following. I understood the story that was before. I understood the story in the middle. There was a beginning, a middle, and there's an end somewhere in the future. I understood it. Unlike the next friggin' thing we'll do here, which we're just... Leroy's got the new United States Championship belt as the next thing, which... Alright, quick thing on that. Look, I'm partial to the one that is currently held by Apollo Crews because you think about the guys who held that. Yes, I'm going to say the name. Chris Benoit,
yes.
Eddie Guerrero. That era where I think the United States Championship was very important.
And John Cena and
yes,
JBL also did that
too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. In my opinion, I'm more partial to that because I think it's simpler. It's more clean. This seems a little too bulky, a little too meh, but here's the deal. I also sit and understand that you have to evolve in wrestling. You have to change belts. You have to do different things.
They plan on changing. Rumor has it they're planning on maybe changing a couple more different titles.
Well, here's the deal. How many freaking times has the WWE Championship changed?
I've lost track.
It's got so many incarnations of it.
God, yeah.
All the way from Bruno Sammartino to The Rock to Stone Cold, they had their own versions, to the current version we have, which actually was The Rock unveiled this after he beat John Cena and retired the spinning belt.
2 spinning belts, too.
So anyway, but I mean, I don't hate the new design, but I'm partial to the one that Apollo Crews is holding.
Yes.
If it retires, I will... Because here's the deal. The belt is not the look, it is the history behind it. And in my opinion, call me crazy, the United States Championship has almost meant more overall to the business of wrestling than the WWE title.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you think about how many different companies had that title? How many different people held that title who never won the big one? You know, Roddy Piper. Are we going to sit here and say Roddy Piper's not a top 5 or a top 20 all-time person in wrestling? Character in wrestling?
One of the greatest.
He held the United States title, never won the big one, never needed it, because Roddy Piper wasn't a I'm going to run the company kind of guy. He was a I'm going to be the best talker you have, and it doesn't matter if you give me the world title.
The best damn. Oh, God, one of the best damn talkers in the world.
I loved it. But anyway, do you want to intro this, or should I just get right into my riff?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, no little kids there because we can't have you listen to this crap, so my kids can't listen to this. And Mom, sorry, you might say something. But hey, night 2, the Fyter Fest. Fighter, whatever. It's garbage.
With a Y. I don't understand it.
It's all garbage.
So,
go for it, Zach.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who were unaware, the Wednesday Night Wars, which were lost by Spot Monkey Wrestling, AEW Spot Monkey, thank you. It shouldn't be cheering. It should be a laugh track at this goddamn point. But anyway,
I gotta find one of those.
Yeah, there you go. But it's just Fyter Fest with a Y, night 2. All of the commentators, Excalibur, dumbass, I don't know, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross have apparently now morphed into Magnum PI ripoffs from the 50s or whatever the hell the show was.
That was Magnum PI was in the 80s.
I don't care that
Tom Selleck isn't that old. He's old,
but they're older than Tom Selleck. That's the point I'm
true.
trying to get here. It was basically Magnum PI from the 50s. For Christ's sake! But now they're all wearing Hawaiian shirts, and I don't know why.
It's back in, I guess.
No, it's not!
I know.
Anyway, okay, so, match by freaking match, ladies and gentlemen. Leroy, would you like to lead me into the matches so I can just rip asshole these people?
The first was the tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team. Kenny Omega, Adam Page against Private Party.
Okay.
With Matt Hardy.
Okay. Private Party... Those two kids, they're freaking athletic as hell. Number one. Okay? They are amazing. They're a general store, great value version of the Street Profits right now because they're trying so hard to be street and they're trying so hard. I swear to God, if Justin Roberts does their intro one more goddamn time and says, weighing in at 24.6 ounces of vodka cranberry, I'm going to freaking lose my damn mind here. That's their weight, by the way. Is 24.5 ounces of vodka cranberry.
I don't really like vodka cranberry.
Justin Roberts' intro is from a location that you need an invitation to get into, weighing in at 24.5 vodka cranberries, Private Party. First of all, what's with the PPs of all their tag teams? Private Party, Pride and Powerful. I don't know.
They have a penis fetish? Did I say that?
Yeah,
whatever.
But anyway, once again, Kenny Omega and Adam Cole have separate entrances.
Adam Page.
I'm sorry. I was under the impression that we were talking about a real wrestling company. So
I know.
I misspoke. I apologize to Mr. Adam Cole, baby. But no, Adam Page and Kenny Omega once again have separate ring entrances. Kenny Omega comes out trying to be like a freaking badass, which he doesn't look it. He doesn't seem it. I'm not believing it. The guy talks like a freaking 4-year-old who was just handed a microphone. Adam Page is starting to look less and less like a built star the more he does this BS. This is apparently the most ongoing feud they have, are your World Tag Team Champions. And they're trying to build the story where Adam Page is going to break off. But they're not building that anymore. They're flawlessly tagging together now. Okay?
Is this their attempt to kind of dangle a carrot at us?
Yes!
It doesn't really work.
No,
they got to put something on there that I might like.
But the thing about it is that it was somewhat good when they were mixing up moves and hitting each other, or there was the beer thing from night one where Kenny poured out FTR's beer and almost got into a fight there. But it's just one of these scenarios where, okay, good. Yeah,
I don't know if this will work.
Yeah, we'll save that.
Okay.
That. But anyway, it's just, look, I agree with Jim Cornette. I think it's Isaiah Cassidy. You get him in a real program, a real training program. That kid's special. That kid, you can see what he can do in a ring. The problem is he's just stuck in this indie bullshit where they're not going to teach him anything to do. They're just going to tell him, go do what you already know. So he's not going to get better. He's just going to stay right where he is. But anyway, Omega and Page won that. Could honestly care less. It was 11.5 minutes of meaningless AEW version of tag team. May I also point out, the same guy is refereeing every single tag team match. And I don't know if that's by design, but I guess it's Rick Knox is his name. He's the bald white dude that like does all these things. Now, mind you, in AEW, when you tag somebody in, before you're disqualified, not a 5 count, it's a 10 count.
Yes.
But here's the deal. It's irrelevant. The referee's not freaking even counting half the damn time. And by the way, I understand referees are part of the dance. I understand they're part of the in-ring action. And yes, referees sometimes throw their hands on their head and go, oh my god, what's that? Once in a while. Rick Knox does it the entire freaking match. He's standing there. He's not counting. He's not trying to get people out of the damn ring. He's just sitting there like he's a kid they pulled out of the freaking audience and said, go referee the match. He's not in control. All 4 guys are in the ring. And, okay, again, I get it. Referees are there to be referees. They're not stars. I get that, okay? But what is a referee supposed to do? Charles Robinson's the best at it, okay?
Oh, yes.
What's he supposed to do? He's supposed to at least pretend that he's trying to yell at someone to get... Referees are not going to push a wrestler out of a ring. We've established that, okay? But you're at least going to walk over to them. You're going to get in their face, and you're going to tell them, get out of the ring. Or you're going to motion for them. Rick Knox doesn't do shit. He is just standing there. He's in the freaking corner so that all 4 of these idiots can do every move they've ever done. And he's meaningless. He is meaningless. If they go out of the ring, he's not counting. You can... Look. I want to make this clear. In my life of wrestling, I have seen a referee 1 billion times if I've seen them once. Start counting. 1, get back in the ring, guys. 2, that was a 1 second period. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, that's
okay.
right, yeah.
He's not doing that. No referee is doing that. It's literally 1. Come on, guys, get back in the ring. Then you don't hear him for a little bit. They do all the moves, yada yada, flips. All of a sudden, I hear 2, 5 seconds later.
Well, maybe Tony Khan told him how to do that. Because he's teaching him how to count.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Their tag team division is so poorly booked. Again, everyone knows that Vince doesn't like tag teams, okay? He knows that he has to have tag team wrestling, but he doesn't really care that much about tag team wrestling. These guys apparently care about tag team wrestling, but are so consumed with, once again, not running a legitimate, we're going to build an audience wrestling program, but a wrestling program that says, hey, to all of you people who supported us and loved us and bought our merchandise for years, now you can see us every night on Wednesdays, every week, doing the same bullshit we did back then in the frickin' bingo halls.
So it's like about the same as the women's division, the tag team? They're about the same.
Every match is 4 guys. Everyone has to do every big spot move. Everybody has to flip. There's no reason, rhyme, or anything. No one gives a crap about tags. The referees are barely paying attention. Apparently, I am lost. It's going to get worse. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there was a worse tag team match than this bullshit. But now we get to a match that, in my opinion, went way too long, was a waste of my time, but sadly should have been on the card. Here's what I mean. Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk, Everybody Dies, was booked against the bad boy, Joey Janela. Mind you, Joey Janela comes out. He's not wearing 1, not 2, but 3 different man buns in his freaking long hair. Allison couldn't get off watching the hair.
Okay.
Anyway.
Never in my life I'd wear a man bun, thank God.
Hold on. Lance Archer doesn't come out right away. We're trying to figure out where Lance Archer is. There's no Jake the Snake Roberts either. Joey Janela's basically just standing in the ring playing with himself. All of a sudden, who comes out? Lance Archer. Who's on his shoulders? Sonny Kiss.
What?
Sonny Kiss is now on Lance Archer's shoulders. Cool. That's cool because he says everybody dies. He's going after Sonny Kiss. He threw Sonny Kiss into Joey Janela. But now Sonny Kiss is all of a sudden Joey Janela's partner on the ringside, cheering him on. I don't know where that's going, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal.
They're grasping at straws or something.
When I said this match should have been on the card, it should have, because Joey Janela is a snotty undercard guy who acts tougher than he actually is. Mind you, Joey Janela is big on the internet solely because Joey Janela likes to do stupid, crazy, hardcore stuff. Okay? Leroy.
Yes.
In no goddamn way should Joey Janela have Lance Archer sell for him in this match. It should have been 2.5 minutes to 5 minutes and just be done. Beat the crap out of Janela, walk out of the ring. Leroy, 11 minutes.
In 17 seconds.
No, I'm not even done about the stupidest part. Leroy, I want to point something out. Joey Janela's the bad boy, right?
Yes.
Joey Janela's known for hardcore, right?
Yes.
This is not a hardcore match. There are rules. This is a basic, everyday singles competition. Joey Janela goes out into the ringside area, pulls out a table. Referee's not trying to stop him. This is in front of the referee, mind you. The referee is staring at this. They're not. Sonny Kiss isn't trying to distract the referee. Jake Roberts isn't trying to distract the referee while this table is getting brought out. This is in front of the referee.
Well, this is a...
Hold on. I'm not done.
Blind bald guy.
No, this is not Rick Knox. This is someone else.
Oh, geez, really? Oh.
No, anyway, moving on. So, here's the deal. Joey Janela sets up the table. The referee's not telling Joey Janela to stop. He's not saying if you do this, you're going to get disqualified. This is just happening. Mind you, Joey Janela's doing this outside the ring. There's no count. Joey Janela might have been out there for 30 seconds. I have no goddamn idea how long he was out there because no one's counting. But anyway... Yada yada this, yada yada that. Joey Janela has a little bit of offense. Lance Archer is ultimately bigger, stronger, faster, whatever. Yeah. The match ends with the winner being Lance Archer. But Leroy, did I not mention there was a table set up?
Yeah. They never touched the table?
No. They touched the table. But you want to know what happens?
It stayed?
No. Lance Archer throws Joey Janela through the table. The referee is staring at them while it happens. No one's DQ'd. The match isn't over. We're continuing this crap, even though we have clearly broken the rules of modern wrestling of it's a singles match, it's not a hardcore match, but we're just going to lackadaisically say the rules don't freaking matter. Apparently we're ECW when we want to be. Do it again. Leroy found a laugh track on his phone, which is still more entertaining than this goddamn shit.
Shut off. Oh, there we go.
Anyway.
New technology over there, man.
So Leroy...
Oh
my God.
There.
Anyway. They're laughing at my commentary about this friggin' match. So Leroy... Yes, no. But here's what bothers me the most. Sonny Kiss and Jake Roberts are still at ringside. But you haven't caused an issue with those two that the referee is staring at while Joey Janela is falling through a table. The referee is staring at Lance Archer, lifting Joey Janela and doing the razor's edge through a table. And the match isn't stopped. The match, there's no bell. The ref doesn't ask for the bell. It's just accepted. Also by the commentators who just keep going and totally ignore the fact that no one has explained that this is a hardcore match, because it's not a hardcore match. It's a basic wrestling contest that a table foreign object was introduced, and the referee is like, well, this is a thing now.
I'm scared of what JR would have said. Did he say, oh my God?
No, JR, first of all, I'm pretty sure he's just taking the money at this point, doesn't give a rat's hairy ass.
No, probably not.
Going, but no, he's commentating this bullshit, by the way. Oh. Now we move to the match that is the most poorly booked bullshit I've ever seen in my entire adult life, and here's why. First of all, you have the Butcher and the Blade minus the Bunny, which, by the way, that's never been explained why they just stopped coming out with her. She's just no longer a part of this.
Might be somebody ate and cooked the bunny.
I don't know. Anyway, the Butcher and the Blade are teaming with the Lucha Brothers, so you have a mid-card heel team with the Lucha Brothers who are not good nor bad, they're just the Lucha Brothers. Mind you, they're the ones who stole FTR's truck. And they drove up in it. FTR didn't go after them and get their truck back. Apparently, this is just
that's
accepted.
the right way to. Yeah.
Anyway, and by the way, they are facing off against FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. They're teaming with the Young Bucks. Quick question, Leroy. What does FTR stand for, even though they cannot legally say it on AEW television?
Oh, fuck the Revival.
There's our one for the day.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. For anyone that doesn't know, FTR, what he just said, was started by Cody Rhodes on Being the Elite, the YouTube show that the Young Bucks have. They said that for years. And now, the Revival, who is probably the hottest free agent in wrestling, they're easily the best tag team in the world, in my opinion, wherever they would go, because they're tag team specialists. That's what they do. They wanted to be that. They get booked in AEW. They've been going back and forth with the Young Bucks for years. The promos write themselves. The booking writes itself. Nope. They're teaming with their biggest rivals over the last couple of years to take on a mid-card level team and a team that can't freaking get American rules correct because they're a lucha team. But anyway, this match, for some strange reason, FTR, who were known as No Flips, Just Fists in WWE.
Yep.
They were flying, Leroy. They were doing dives. They were jumping off the top rope. They were hitting the Young Bucks finisher.
Oh my God.
First of all, the Lucha Brothers are famous for being known as a story that's been confirmed, by the way, that Chris Jericho had to pull them aside and say, guys, you have to tag in and out. You're burying the referees. Clearly nobody gives a fuck about that anymore. I don't give a damn anymore about our F limit. Oh, by the way, guess who's refereeing the match?
Hey, that same bald guy?
Yes, it's Rick Knox, our favorite loser. Anyway, this guy is not counting when guys tag in. Remember, the commentators. And by the way, at this point, if JR says it one more time, I'm going to go down there and rip his goddamn hat off his head and stuff it down his throat. Because even I'm tired of listening to JR say over and over and over and over. Stop me whenever you want to.
Okay.
And over.
Okay.
Okay. And over that you have a 10 count once you've tagged in to get out of the ring. The referee's never freaking gotten to 3 last I've checked on an AEW television show.
Maybe he needs help counting up to 10 from my son.
No,
you know.
Your son can probably get.
Your
son can at least get the 4.
My 5-year-old could do that.
Thank you. But anyway, Leroy. Once again, everyone's in the ring. Referee's not trying to restore order. He's just off in the corner going, oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. My hands are flying around as if they're independent from my body. I don't know what to do because I'm so enamored by what's happening.
All 8 guys are in the ring.
Yes, they're all in the ring doing flippy shit. They're all doing the same stuff they've done on the indies for 12 years. They're just doing this and that. The referee's not trying to get off. By the way, they don't go to a break. They just let this happen. And nobody's trying to gain control. No one even knows there's a match going on. There's actually a point where so much happened where I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's the Butcher or the Blade, but the fat one in that tag team apparently ends up trying to pin one of the FTR guys. The fat one's not legal. He never tagged in. Allison and I watched it 3 times. This is a 2-hour show. It took me 3 hours to watch because I had to rewind every freaking time to double check. But Leroy, in the chaos of everyone jumping around, flying in, taking everyone out, the Butcher, the Blade, the fat one, I don't care. I'm pretty sure he's the Butcher. He never tags in, but all of a sudden he's just fighting the guy who's actually legal, mind you, in the ring. And mind you, the referee is just sitting there watching this. He's not telling him to get out. He's not counting because this guy's not legal, but apparently nobody cares about this anymore. Also, by the way, I did find out recently from listening to a Jim Cornette thing. Did you know that something that is not done in modern wrestling at all anymore is that when you tag in, you're supposed to make contact with your opponent before you tag out. It's an actual rule in tag team wrestling.
Well, usually you slap a hand or an arm or something.
No. When you tag in, you are supposed to make contact with the other legal opponent before you're allowed to tag out. Now, yes, WWE doesn't do that. Everyone doesn't do that. It's kind of lost.
Yeah.
But I say that, Leroy, because at one point, I don't know if it was one of the Bucks or one of FTR. I don't care anymore. One of them walks over to their corner, tags in a member of the other tag team, meaning FTR tagged in the Bucks, not FTR to FTR.
Yeah.
Then the Buck or the FTR guy gets in the ring, tags the guy from the other team. The referee is staring at this, making the clapping noise, saying, I have seen a tag. He does this 4 times. Why? Because apparently now all 4 men are legally allowed to be in the ring. The referee's not counting a 10 count. They're all legal now. This is apparently what's happening.
We're going to have to get the tag team wrestling rule book to see if somebody had edited this in, because nowhere in my life have I ever watched any wrestling, and I've watched it for many years.
You have.
That
you were there. You were there when Bruno Sammartino got off the boat.
Yeah, and you know, it was like, yes, yeah, I can laugh at my own age, but tornado tag, yeah, they all could.
It's not a tornado
but
tag.
It's not a tornado tag.
This was 16 and a half minutes.
Well, that's why there's our problem. It was a basic match. That's the problem. Because they couldn't handle basic.
But Leroy, they've buried the referees in this company. They mean nothing. They don't have any real authority. They can't do jack shit anything. Because apparently the Young Bucks are instructing backstage, hey, here's the deal. We're a bunch of indie idiots who have done nothing but flips and kicks and super kicks to get big in this world. And here's the deal. Every single match that we have has to feature flips and kicks and super kicks and hugs if you're the best friends. You got to give the people what they want. If Excalibur says that one time, I'm going to take his mask off his head, I'm going to shove it up his ass, and hopefully he can puke it out next time he tries to do commentary. Screw that idiot. Mr. Part owner of Pro Wrestling Gorilla. I'll get into that some other day. Anyway, but he actually is a part owner of Pro Wrestling Gorilla.
Oh, well, that's good. Good for him.
At least he has a day job. I don't know. But anyway,
he needs one.
Yeah. But anyway, I swear to God, if he says this crap one more goddamn time, I'm gonna fly. I don't care about what's going on in the world right now. I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but we were stuck in quarantine. I don't know what it is. We're not going to get into that. But anyway, I will fly my happy ass down there without a mask on, whatever. I will walk into this arena, which is not an arena. It's currently the outskirts of the Jaguar Stadium. Oh, by the way, the audience.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, by the way, the audience is all the wrestlers from the previous week as well. But for some strange reason, Jurassic Express is still dressed as if they're ready to compete. They're not putting shirts on. They're not wearing sweats. They're not sitting there like, oh, I'm here to enjoy a cocktail. They're still dressed like they're ready to compete. Yes, I know they probably taped both shows back to back, but for the love of God, is nobody in the truck thinking that this is a continuity issue? Is nobody sitting here wondering why the hell they look like they just got in a match? Anyway.
What? Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing.
Anyway, so after all this, 1 month ago, you ended up with FTR, the biggest tag team free agents in the world. They are now teaming with their ultimate rivals, the Young Bucks. They lost the match. You had 2 tag teams who nobody saw for the longest time except they stole a truck. And they won a match against supposedly the 2 best tag teams in the world. So apparently, the combined efforts of the 2 greatest tag teams in our modern sport can't beat the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers. Nothing against the Lucha Brothers. Ray Phoenix might be one of the best rope workers I've ever seen in my life.
God, yes.
He is fabulous.
I love
and
watching
sadly,
him.
Pentagon Jr. is made to look like a fool, even though he was the baddest ass dude in Lucha Underground. He's been one of the best luchadors over the past couple of years, and he was barely in this match. I'm not even kidding. He spent most of his time on the floor from a freaking useless ass kick than he did freaking doing anything else in this match. So you're burying Pentagon Jr., who is, like I said, one of the best Mexican stars that America has right now.
They need to bring Pentagon Dark back then.
So anyway, Chris Jericho apparently tried to fix the tag team division, and he's apparently so busy with freshly squeezed orange juice. I'm not even going to use his Christian name. But I don't understand what they're doing. Your thoughts on everything I just told you, being a guy who enjoys classic tag team wrestling, like, I don't know, the team that FTR is modeled after, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, all the Fabulous Freebirds.
It hurts my brain. And
that's the other thing. Your brain can't keep up with this because they're not trying to tell a story.
No.
It's one flip leads to another flip. But again, Leroy, don't forget, I don't understand the psychology of 18 flips in a row not leading to a cover.
It definitely
or
should.
A tag.
Or
I'm missing the psychology here.
You know, they have them tagged together. Well, if they lost, they could have done an angle from that to have a feud with FTR and the Young Bucks.
Yep.
But they didn't do that.
Yep.
You know, that's the smart thing to do.
Yep.
I mean, Vince would have done it. Tony, think like Vince, you idiot.
The only thing they've teased during Fyter Fest was that apparently FTR is mad at not the Young Bucks, but they're not the guys they've been feuding with on the internet for the last 3 to 5 years.
Oh, who are they mad at now?
They're mad at the AEW World Tag Team Champions Kenny Omega and Adam Page, who they've never met up until now, because apparently after the match last week where they scouted talent by drinking beers with JR and Tony Schiavone, that apparently they came in the ring, gave a beer to Adam Page, which of course Adam Page is a drunk right now. He's going to accept that wholeheartedly.
Yes, definitely.
And they gave one to Kenny Omega, who's straight edge, won't drink it. So Kenny Omega actually toasts the beer, but then dumps it in the ring. Not only is it alcohol abuse, but the dude's just sitting there. And now, and again, I'm going back to last week, but then FTR gets mad at Kenny Omega, who Adam Page is also mad at Kenny Omega, so it's 3-on-1. Who comes out to break this up? The Young Bucks, who are executive vice presidents of this company, who are not dressed like it on their nights off when they're trying to run the show. At least Triple H comes to work in a suit. These dudes are in shorts and a t-shirt. And look, that would be me. But I would at least be booking this shit well. I would not be idiots who don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Just like Stone Cold, you know, put a tie around your neck at least, you know.
Anyway, despite everything I've said, we're still not done with this crap. This show is still going.
Let's see, 3 more lovely
Nyla
matches.
Rose faced 2... I don't know if they were enhancement talents. I don't know if AEW's actually signed these girls. I don't know. They were complete. Nothing made sense about them.
2 minutes.
It was 2 minutes long.
Holy crap.
These 2 girls, there was nothing. And again, I am not saying that they're ugly. I am not saying they have body issues. There was nothing unique about them. They were as blah as you can get in women's wrestling.
Oh, pale and stick girls or what?
There was just nothing to them.
Oh, okay.
They looked athletic. That was it. Congratulations, you look athletic. You know who else kind of looks athletic in professional wrestling? The Young Bucks, and yet they look like every other useless-ass tag team on God's
That is true.
Hang on a sec while I switch papers here.
All right.
I'm skipping Colt Cabana and the Dark Order versus SCU because you have Daniels, Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, 3 guys who can actually work because they've been on TV. They've worked with actual real producers before. And they're involved with Colt Cabana, who is, and again, I love Colt Cabana. He's very talented. I think that he loves comedy wrestling, but he commits to it. It's not a joke to him when he does comedy wrestling. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But they've been teasing him versus the Dark Order. And what doesn't make any sense to me is that if this is supposed to be a company built off of the indies and fans loving these guys, is anyone really going to believe the fact that Colt Cabana is needing to join the Dark Order because he's going to go broke?
No, he's not. I don't believe it at all. He's a real nice guy. You know, we met him.
But it's not believable. And Brody Lee, and by the way, I know I reference Jim Cornette a lot, but he's right in a lot of ways when it comes to Spot Monkey Wrestling. Brody Lee, I never thought this was possible because maybe it was because he had Bray Wyatt next to him, and Bray Wyatt just oozes charisma and charismatic, stuff. But Brody Lee, I'm starting to see it. It's true. He is a vacuum for charisma. He is a vacuum for excitement. And by that, I mean he kills it when he comes out. It's dead. This match had nothing to it. I'm skipping over it entirely. I don't give a damn. Again, by the way, every single match has to go. Apparently, every match must go a minimum 11 minutes unless you're trying to build the women's division.
And then just 2 minutes.
Where Nyla Rose, now mind you, Nyla Rose gave a really nice promo about how she's going to get back her championship. Also, quick question. Why on God's green earth is Hikaru Shida in the audience with her tiny ass belt, watching like a spectator, and then all of a sudden Nyla Rose is cutting a promo about how I'm going to get that back? Really? You have so many extras. You have so many family members. You guys bitch and moan and brag about how you've done better in this pandemic than WWE does, but apparently you have to use the same wrestlers who just wrestled on night one as your audience. Why is Hikaru Shida there? She's a champion, and she's sitting there with the belt, watching a 2-minute match of a woman who she's already beat up 2 no-name people that no one cares about. And ladies, I'm sure you're nice people, and you're gorgeous young ladies, but you are meaningless to the wrestling business. That's not a shot at women's wrestling. That's just the facts. No one knew who you were. You're on no one's radar, because if you ain't already in WWE's developmental program, you're probably not freaking on their radar. Okay? You're not.
Yeah.
But I don't care about this match, because I don't care about the Dark Order anymore, because it's just a bunch of lame-ass BS. Oh, by the way, according to Chris Jericho on his podcast, it's confirmed. The Dark Order is 100% the brainchild of the Young Bucks.
That's the problem.
They came up with it. They're booking it. It's all them. Boys, don't quit your day jobs, because even though you suck at that too, it's at least making you money. But don't ever try to book for anybody else, because you're just going to run a... I hate to say it, and Jim Cornette's kind of admitted it, and we all know how Jim Cornette feels about Vince Russo.
Yeah.
This may replace... Viagra on a pole. This may replace anything Vince Russo has ever done in TNA. This might replace anything he ever did in WWE. This may replace David Arquette as some of the worst ass booking I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's making a very bold statement there.
Go back and watch The Dark Order on YouTube and tell me I'm not right.
All right. I might do that.
Anyway,
maybe.
But again, SCU, they're talented, they're good, they can sell, they know what the hell they're doing. Christopher Daniels, congratulations, you've now wrestled in not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different decades of wrestling. Congratulations, but
that's
dude,
impressive.
What are you doing with this worthless ass company that has no idea what the hell they're doing week to week?
Getting a paycheck. That's about it.
Tony Khan's thrown... And by the way, anyone out there who's like, oh, but they're profiting... It ain't hard to profit, boys. When you're on a Wednesday night, there's not a lot of money being put into you, and you got a billionaire's checkbook behind you. And no, Tony, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about your daddy, whose money you're wasting on these schlups.
And they don't have to pay rent for where they're doing this stuff, too.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's all free.
Because, again, daddy owns everything.
Yeah.
And I think... Was it this week that they had the promo with Taz giving the FTW championship to Brian Cage? They brought that back because of
yeah.
So you remember in ECW, Taz brought that title out because whoever he was facing was sick, and Taz said, "I'm the FTW champion," yada yada. So they're kind of running that same idea with Brian Cage and the fact that Jon Moxley's out due to his wife testing positive for something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway. So, but again, that was just, or maybe that was the week before. I don't know. All I know is
well,
that,
yeah, they gave it to him, and supposedly because Taz actually really owns the belt.
He actually owns it. By the way, quick note: AEW Dark, the YouTube show, which I constantly rip as well. Apparently, on this show, this Tuesday, tomorrow, we're filming this on a Monday versus a Sunday. Brian Cage is defending the FTW championship.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
But did you see who he's defending it against?
No, I did not see that.
Leroy, he's defending against Brian Pillman Jr. Hold on.
Yeah,
but no, hold on. Before you react to this, Cody Rhodes recently tweeted how amazing it would be to get a Pillman back on TNT, because obviously Brian Pillman Sr. was part of the Hollywood Blondes, wonderful, great thing. I'm not here to rip on his son. I'm not, because I think his son might have some of dad in him, and I loved Brian Pillman stuff. It was always fun to watch.
Oh yeah, it was great.
You look back at it, and it's so sad what happened, but Brian Pillman was great. But here's the deal. You tweet about how great it is to put a Pillman back on TNT, about how great it is to have Brian Pillman Jr., a guy whose name alone would sell more tickets than half your freaking roster, And he's going to be 0-2 on AEW Dark. He lost his first match last Tuesday, which makes no sense why you would book Brian Pillman Jr. to lose in the
and a Dark, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, everyone's like, well, he could beat Brian. He's not beating Brian Cage.
No.
That's the easiest booking decision I've ever seen in my life. Brian Cage is not losing the FTW Championship a week before facing Jon Moxley at Fight for the Fallen. He's not losing it on AEW Dark 24 hours before he faces Jon Moxley. It's not happening.
No, definitely not.
So apparently you can't wait to get a Pillman back on TNT. Brian Pillman Jr. has been a guy that we've all been waiting to see hit television for a long time because we all loved his father. May he rest in peace. He's going to be 0-2 on AEW Dark. You can't even have him win the tune-up matches before he gets to TNT.
Yeah,
really?
They're brain dead.
Who's
That's it.
booking this shit?
Kenny? Oh, wait a minute. No, he does the women.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sadly, Kenny's booking the women's division. But Leroy, the time has come. Not for the end of my rant that I'm sure most people who like Spot Monkey Wrestling, that they want me to stop. No, it's time for our main event of the evening.
With a little bit of the bubbly?
Chris
and some orange juice.
Jericho, Y2J, one of the goats of smaller cruiserweight style wrestling, is facing off against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Mind you, Orange Cassidy is now serious. He comes out, he's not lazy, he takes off the sunglasses, he takes off the shirt, he takes off the vest, he hands them to the best friends and says, go to the back. He's serious now, Leroy.
Oh, Lord.
He's serious. Now, Jericho makes his entrance with a baseball bat. And he makes the entrance with Santana and Ortiz, who are both happen to be carrying half gallons of freshly squeezed orange juice to the ring.
Well, that's good.
Hold on, Leroy.
That's nice.
Hold on, Leroy.
Yeah.
Another booking mistake.
Oh,
Santana and Ortiz are still there. They don't go to the back. They stay. They're now at ringside for Chris Jericho. Once again, Chris Jericho doesn't look like he would hang out with these guys outside of the locker room in a million years. I don't know why they're part of the inner circle. But anyway, Orange Cassidy's now serious, right? He's got his game face on. He's ready to go. He starts the match by putting his hands in his pockets.
Oh, my God.
He does his normal bullshit of bouncing off the ropes. Hands are still in the pocket. Flying to the outside. Hands are still in the pocket. I hate to say it, this was actually one of the best matches of the night because Jericho carried the whole goddamn thing. And Jericho was serious. And when Orange Cassidy was not putting his hands in his pocket and was trying to wrestle, holy crap, the dude can actually wrestle. I mean, like, Orange Cassidy, if you get him out of this bullshit gimmick, which, by the way, when someone goes from indies to a televised show, they're supposed to want to stop doing the bullshit they did to get noticed in the indies. They're supposed to want to be like Stone Cold and The Rock. They're supposed to want to be more serious.
Definitely, yeah.
This guy doesn't give a rat's hairy ass if he's serious or not. But anyway, so he's serious, right? He's got his game face on. He's got the big bulging eyes. He's angry at Chris Jericho.
For what? Because they brought orange juice out?
No, because Chris Jericho's apparently been yelling at him for the last couple of weeks. It's been some bad promo work, even by Jericho standards. And, of course, in the middle of the match, they've gone back and forth. I've actually been enjoying it. Even Allison's been enjoying it. And Allison can't stand Orange Cassidy as far as she can freaking throw the asshole. But anyway, what does he do? Puts his hands back in his pockets. He play kicks Chris Jericho. But then, instead of the whole, oh, and then lift his foot up, a foot 6 inches off the ground, he actually super kicks Chris Jericho. So, in the realm of Orange Cassidy, it actually was a nice change because instead of the usual play kick and then the fake super kick, it was a real super kick. So in the realm of Orange Cassidy, it was a nice change. So it was a good pace for the match. But I'm still supposed to take your ass seriously.
No, I still wouldn't.
I'm still supposed to take your dumb ass seriously. Oh, by the way, he's not even wearing ripped jeans. Allison, look closely. They're basically sweats that are made to look like jeans. They're basically wrestling tights that are supposed to look like ripped up jeans. He's not even wearing jeans to do this shit. I don't even know what to describe this as anymore. But anyway, Leroy. Remember, Leroy, take a guess which referee is currently refereeing this match.
A fat bald guy?
No!
Oh my god.
And by the way, actually, Rick Knox is actually quite skinny.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The stripes help. But anyway, no. It's the only female referee on the card.
Oh, yeah.
Aubrey. But now she's a useless idiot because she's getting buried like hell.
And they said she was a really good referee.
She's a good referee. She's taking charge of things. Her and Jericho, we obviously know, have the history from the Stadium Stampede where he challenged the pinfall and they went into a blue tent. This is a real thing for those of you who haven't followed us. It is true. Chris Jericho apparently in 2020 can challenge a pinfall, throw a red challenge flag, and then they go to a blue tent and watch the pin again. Anyway, moving on.
Is that the joy of being a goat?
I don't know. But no, Leroy, here's what pisses me off. You want to know what buried her and made her useless?
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Night 1 of Great American Bash. How did Sasha lose?
She got pinned. Asuka came out and sprayed a little green on her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick question, though. Did the referee ever see Asuka spray the green mist?
No, she did
not. When
not.
Io Shirai went for the pin, did Io Shirai not cover the face of Sasha Banks with Sasha Banks' own hair?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to point something out. So Leroy, I'm going to ask you a question here. Are you telling me, Leroy Britton, are you being serious right now? And can you look me in the eye with a straight face and tell me that apparently, whether it is an object or it's a liquid, are you telling me that a foreign thing cannot be introduced into a match?
Yes,
is
unless it's a hardcore match.
Oh, really?
But if not, a foreign object is not allowed in a regular match.
Leroy, could you give me a minute and please humor me? Explain to me these rules, please.
The rule? Which ones?
Explain
for a
to
regular
me.
match?
Yeah, for a regular match.
Oh, well, it has to be decided by a pinfall or a submission. No foreign objects whatsoever. No chairs, no tables, no spitting liquid or anything, or no low blows to the nuts. And then you get, calls out.
Leroy, I apologize.
Okay.
I'm not up on current wrestling psychology, as you know. I guess this is me going to my confessional and just being like, I apologize to everyone out there. Sorry, my father, for I have sinned. How many Hail Marys do I have to say to basically make up for my sins of not knowing the psychology of modern wrestling?
3.
Just 3? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Leroy.
We're talking about spot monkeys. So
Leroy, one of the freaking dudes from Pride and Powerful throws the orange juice in Orange Cassidy's face, but not while referee Aubrey is being distracted by Chris Jericho. Oh. She's staring at it.
Maybe she thought that she
saw it.
Oh wow. Maybe she thought that he was Orange Cassidy, so he needed orange juice to refresh him. I'm just grasping. I know.
She's staring at this, and by the way, she doesn't threaten to throw them out. You want to know how Pride and Powerful gets? No, Leroy. You want to know how Santana Ortiz get
thrown out?
No, not thrown out. But you want to know how they get neutralized? The Best Friends finally show up. Now, mind you, earlier in the match, you know that weapon sock thing that Santana Ortiz come out with? Like the loaded sock type thing. Yeah. So earlier in the match, while referee Aubrey is distracted by Jericho, they hit Orange Cassidy with the loaded sock. So that's a real foreign weapon.
Oh, yes.
And that's the referee being distracted. That's a good heel move.
Yeah, that's right.
But now that we're throwing orange juice, apparently that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
Nobody gives a shit. But anyway, the Best Friends don't come out to save Orange Cassidy after he's been hit with the loaded sock. They stop Santana Ortiz from hydrating freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
Going back to what you said, the lifeblood of his family, of his people. They're stopping him from getting the energy of vitamin freaking C. I don't know, but that's when the Best Friends finally show up. And so now it's chaos. The Best Friends are fighting with Pride and Powerful. They're in the crowd. Everyone's going crazy. And for the love of Christ, we finally get to the end of this. Jericho hits the end move. It's over. I don't even remember if it was the Judas effect because I don't even know if Jericho was paying attention at this point. But despite everything I've said, this was actually one of the best matches of the night because, again, Chris Jericho had to carry this shit for about who knows how long.
He's that good. He's a goat. But, yeah, he shouldn't have to do it with that.
These idiots cannot be serious. They can't put a serious wrestling match together. The commentators, if you think the commentators, other than Excalibur, who's used to this bullshit monkey crap, if you think Tony Schiavone, and by the way, no bullshit, one of the past AEW shows, it might have been last week, I don't know, Leroy, you probably don't know this because you don't watch Spot Monkey. Tony Schiavone actually has said during one of these two tapings, this is greater than anything I called during WCW tapings.
Oh my God.
Tony Schiavone!
He must have been drunk.
Or he's being paid a lot of money to say it.
Well, if they pay me enough, it's going to be a hell of a lot.
Oh,
then I might
I'll
say
say anything on live TV if you go pay me enough. There's no issue there.
Yeah, that's a lot of money they need me to pay me.
But the thing about it is that, dude, Jim Ross doesn't care. Also, by the way, last week, something I forgot to mention. You remember the match with Wardlow and MJF versus the Jurassic Express?
Oh, yeah.
MJF tries to cut a promo before the match. Commentators are still talking over him. So somebody gave him a bad TV cue. He didn't know when he was supposed to start the promo. This has happened to him twice.
Oh, my God.
This freaking crap. This freaking bunch of morons who are basically... And by the way, for those of you out there, I'm sorry if this is not family appropriate, but this is literally the definition of they're jerking each other off. Because all they're doing is letting everyone get their cheap thrills off during every match on the freaking card. And I swear to goddamn Christ, I don't know why I put myself through this. I could literally just stop talking about them, and I don't think that would change anyone's opinion of this show. I don't think it would ever stop anyone from thinking I cared any less about anything else if I stopped talking about Spot Monkey. But I swear to God, I rated you guys as a 6 out of 10 for your first 9 months on television. That is my rating. Go look it up. It's in the lounge. It's on the internet. I will not deny that. I will give you my rating for season 1 when I do the review, which is coming up. But here's the thing. I gave you a 6 out of 10 because your TV show was getting better. But that's because you stopped featuring 90% of these effing losers that nobody gives a rat's hairy ass about. And I swear to God, Marco Stunt's going to die on camera one time when we get back to live tapings. And no one's going to be the wiser because all this 120-pound, 5'2" loser does is jump around. And I'm like, dude, you are barely the size of freaking in Luchasaurus's calf muscle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Luchasaurus takes this kid seriously. He's his buddy.
Ugh.
This show was an aneurysm the entire time. I said it was 2 hours long, and it took me 3 hours to rewatch it because I was doing the smart choice and I was watching The Great American Bash because that was actually a good produced TV show.
Damn right.
But I decided to go back and watch it because I wanted to make sure that for all of our listeners, I knew what I was talking about. Because guess what, folks? Despite what some of you may think, and I guarantee some of you think it, I'm acting.
That's about how I feel, right?
Do me a favor. Don't even do the laugh track. It doesn't even deserve a laugh track.
Oh, okay.
Because at this point, it's a pity bunch of crap. And you know what? I have been looking for a way to describe Orange Cassidy for the longest time. And I'm sorry to Darren Corbin, good friend of the show, because he actually likes Orange Cassidy. He is, to quote once again my boy Jim Cornette, he is a Saturday Night Live sketch of what wrestling is today. He is as if Will Ferrell would turn around and pretend to be a wrestler on SNL. And there I would laugh. But I am not going to laugh when you are doing the same bullshit every goddamn week. Because you are making a mockery of this business. You are a joke to the wrestling business. Every goddamn one of you should be ashamed. Outside of MJF, because he seems to be the only one who knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
But you people got big on the indies. And then you got a TV contract. And you were put in charge. And the only thing you know how to do is stupid, insecure, and that's a good word to use, is insecure, because you don't want to change, because otherwise you lose those fans. You don't care about new ones. You only care about the ones that made you $1 million. How about the ones that are going to make you $2 million, $3 million, $4 million? How the hell are you going to get rock money if you're just going to be the same $1 million losers you've been for 5 years?
That's what they want to do.
But the thing about it is, Leroy, is that these guys are just they're apparently backstage, and Tony Khan has apparently promoted that this is a good idea. The booking practices go as such. You go up to the competitors and say, what do you want to do? The competitors say what they want to do, and they just say, good, Okay, let's do it. There's no design of the match. There's no ebb and flow. There's no attempt to tell a story. It's just go out and show your super... Look, Kenny Omega is one of the most athletic guys I've seen in wrestling in a long time.
Yeah.
But he's just shit. He is. I put him number 1 in the lounge for our top 50 one time because guess what? He had the best year. I'm not going to deny that he did. But again, in New Japan, you have great wrestling agents who are telling you what to do. You have a world-class talent in Okada and Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi that are helping you be better than what you are. But get away from that, and you are a sniveling little whiny bitch who needs to get off my goddamn television screen before I reach through and choke your skinny little ass neck out. I am so done with Kenny Omega. And everyone's like, oh, but they're building Kenny Omega. They're going to bring back the Kenny Omega you saw in Japan. The Kenny Omega I saw in Japan was only good when A, he was running the Bullet Club and he had guys who knew what the hell they were doing behind him, and B, because Kazuchika Okada was the only dude making you look good, bro. I ain't seen a guy.
No, there
ain't
anybody on
6-star matches, your 7-star matches with Okada, which, by the way, those are not ratings from everybody else. Those are ratings of Dave freaking Meltzer, who's apparently just one of your jerk-off friends who just wants to freaking get you off because everyone enjoys their orgasm when they do the same bullshit they do every goddamn freaking week.
Yeah.
Screw Spot Monkey Wrestling. And for those of you who are wondering what else can I do during my review, I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to give you more. Because there are things that I need to delve into, because there are things that Spot Monkey Wrestling has said that they've been given. There's a lot of news that I have not covered in depth, which I will. So I promise you that it will be a different sort of deal than what I'm doing. I'm still going to rip their asshole in
yes.
two. But I'm going to explain why all of you people that follow this shit are wrong. I'm going to explain why you don't know what the hell you're talking about with wrestling, and I'm going to explain to you why, yes, I may not understand the psychology that you want, but if I tried to understand the psychology you want, I'd be in a padded cell, you dipwads.
All right. Should we go? Let's talk about something better. Extreme Rules?
Leroy, I'm going to take a quick breather. You go ahead and preview Extreme Rules. Let us know what's going on.
All right.
I'll give my input as I can, but Leroy, I've done enough for now. You go right ahead.
All right. Well, Extreme Rules coming up.
Horror
show coming out this Sunday. We got Drew McIntyre going against Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler has not. He gets to choose the stipulation. Has not said it yet. He's going to wait until probably that night, which will be fine.
So that's my question. Do you honestly think it's going to be right before the match, or do you think Dolph's going to do it on SmackDown?
I don't think he's going to do it on SmackDown. He's going to wait until Sunday.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. You would think... There's two different ways to do this from an advertising perspective. If you announce the match, then you get the people who like that style of match. But if you don't announce it like you're saying, then you kind of get everybody's wheels spinning that what's going to happen. And then they're forced to tune into the show. And then maybe right there in the middle of the ring, Ziggler announces it right beforehand. But, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean...
Well, he said it's something that's never been seen before.
Well,
that's what he is saying.
Well, I mean, this whole pay-per-view is going to be something we've never seen before.
Well,
but I mean,
hey, it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, we have Asuka putting her belt on the line against Sasha, which she could turn out and actually be 2 belts, just like her buddy Bayley. I don't see that happening.
I don't understand why you would.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I think Sasha and Bayley have been amazing through this whole situation of no crowds, of limited stuff. They've taken the brass ring and they've run with it. I'm going to give them that credit. But Asuka won that title, and that title reign, despite what Nia Jax said in her KFAB promo, with everything that happened with Becky, with the emotion involved in that, I think it's real. And I think that Asuka's title reign, despite Asuka still being kind of goofy, but that's just who she is.
Oh, yes. Love it.
I hate to say it, but I think Asuka is still far too... Now, yes, I know we talked about earlier about Cole and Keith and saying, take the belt off at the peak. I don't think Asuka's reached that peak yet.
No, she hasn't.
I don't see them keeping the belt on Asuka until Becky gets back. I don't see that. But I definitely think you have to ride the wave of Becky momentum for a little bit longer until... Because here's the deal. Becky's not gone from the eyes and hearts of the people in the business. She's not.
No.
Her energy, her look, her spirit, everything about Becky still looms heavily over that championship. My biggest thing is I don't think it's a good time to take it off of Asuka. That's my only thing to say.
No, I think they'll keep it on her.
Okay.
Then we got the other women's championship there from SmackDown, Bayley against Nikki Cross.
Now, okay, I am okay with Asuka losing to Sasha if Bayley loses the cross.
Yeah.
Because then the jealousy is on the other foot, or in this case, the other waist.
Yes.
Or, in this case, there's two belts on a different set of shoulders. Heavy are the shoulders that carry the two belts.
That is definitely true.
So I am okay with Bayley losing if Asuka loses. I'm not okay with. I'll say this: if both Bayley and Sasha lose, interesting way to go with Nikki. But I feel like the only way that Nikki, and again, going back to what Allison said on a previous show, in terms of like devaluing the championships, does it not make sense when I say that Nikki is only going to be taken seriously if Bayley moves on to do something with Sasha? I feel like if Bayley just loses to Nikki, Nikki's kind of a, and again, I don't want to say this because I hate this phrase unless it's warranted, paper champion?
Yeah, she probably would be if that happened.
Okay. Your thoughts on Cross and Bayley?
Well, I think it's interesting throwing Nikki Cross up there and caught in the spotlight. I mean, that'll be good for her to see what she can do. And I don't know. I feel like I see Bayley's going to win.
I feel like the current world situation, you have who you have. You have the people at the Performance Center that you have. It's time to either sink or swim with these folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to finally figure out if they can do what they can do. And yes, I'm not judging the ratings right now of Raw and SmackDown because of the world situation, because I think that a lot of the big stars are missing. And everyone's going to turn around and say, well, you're judging the NXT AEW rankings. NXT and AEW, correct me if I'm wrong, they're pretty much fully stocked on...
Oh, yeah, they are.
No. Fully stocked on stars.
Yes.
They're fully stocked on the people that they need or that run the TV show. So I'm able to judge those two rosters accordingly. I am. Also, I'd like to point out, going back to Fyter Fest, Fight for the Fallen is next week.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, remember I said Sonny Kiss was involved in that Lance Archer, Joey Janela stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sonny Kiss is now apparently answering an open challenge for the TNT title against Cody. Out of nowhere, no story, nothing. But again, I'm not going to get back into that.
Yeah.
We're on something else. But I feel like right now, Nikki has put in a lot of time. She's been through a couple different incarnations of herself. She can obviously go in the ring. I'll be perfectly honest. Maybe I was guilty of a little bit of body shaming, and I'll admit this, but I think that Nikki, in my opinion, looks a lot better than she did when she was Insanity. I think she's kind of, maybe that's because she's at the Performance Center and she has nothing better to do. Maybe that's because this is what. But and again, maybe she always looked like that, and I just saw the baggy clothes. I mean, and I'll apologize to Nikki Cross. I don't think it's anything I need to apologize for. But if Nikki, feels bad that some people didn't think she looked amazing. Obviously, her husband Killian Dane is her husband, so she doesn't need my approval. But I'll definitely apologize for maybe a little bit of body shaming there. But I think Nikki Cross looks like she could be part of this division now, and part of, again, sex sells. Part of being in division. I'm not saying blonde hair. I'm just saying you gotta.
I know you have a thing for blonde. Yeah.
No.
Well, just the one. No, I understand totally.
But my thing is that you have to look a certain way. But this is true of the guys as well.
Yeah.
Okay? When we're supposed to be feeling like we want to be you, sex sells. My mom's been saying it for 62 years. And,
and
that's my mother, my mother's a feminist, but my mother says, you can't beat what advertising has been since the dawn of time. But
well,
anyway,
with these matches, I depend on who goes first with these matches. I think will determine what goes on there.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right.
Yep.
Then we'll do, which is interesting, Apollo Crew MVP for the United States Championship.
Don't you mean the title unification match?
Yeah, something like that. All right, but oh well. That I think it'll be pretty good. I mean, I MVP. He knows how to work. I think it'll be a good match.
Yeah.
Might be on the kickoff show or close to it.
So I feel like we should just kind of combine our Raw and SmackDown recaps with this pay-per-view because that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone knows Apollo Crews is sort of being recruited by MVP.
Yeah.
I do think on this past Raw, MVP may have struck a chord with Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
But I don't know for certain. Also, I love how out of nowhere Alexander and Ricochet were both gone for a while. Now they're back. And Alexander is, instead of wearing his singlet tight.
Yeah.
Or, no, sorry, the sort of like Speedo tight.
Yeah.
He's now wearing long pants. And yet Ricochet went from long pants to now he's wrestling into the... So it's just...
Changing things up.
It's just a weird thing to see because like normally you don't see wardrobe changes. Because remember, Chris Jericho wrestled in longer tights for the longest time until he became I'm the best in the world at what I do when he did the whole No Country for Old Men type character.
Yeah.
Then Chris started wrestling in Speedo tights.
Yeah.
And now he's back to long pants, but that might be due to age. Who knows?
Yeah.
But no, I mean. Apollo Crews, MVP, I think it's been told well. Lashley's kind of just there, I hate to say it, as the muscle. So it's really weird because... it's just very weird because MVP talked about making Lashley into a main event star. And yet, am I wrong to say that Lashley's kind of just the muscle now?
That's what kind of is right now. I mean,
MVP says he's about Bobby Lashley. But Bobby Lashley's really not doing anything but beating up the smaller guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're going to be working their way with something with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to go head in and bump hands with MVP after that.
And it's interesting because like you said, Drew McIntyre moved on to Dolph Ziggler. Love Heath Slater on Raw, by the way. Really well done. That was great. Fantastic job.
I loved it.
Really kind of made me go into the match there a little more. But anyway, we have also Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in a bar fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I look at the matches that we have. We'll talk about two of them in a second here, but bar fight, eye for an eye, swamp fight. Are we going to have 3 cinematic matches, or are Jeff and Sheamus legit going to be in a bar?
I'm not sure. I have not heard anything on that, but with the last 2 there with Braun and Bray.
They've already confirmed it's going to be
Rey Mysterio
cinematic for eye versus eye.
For both, yeah.
And you obviously can't do a swamp fight without being cinematic. You're not going to put these dudes in an actual swamp with gators and snakes. But
what I read about the eye for an eye,
you're in Florida, though.
They're actually going to use CGI, and you actually see an eye get pulled out. When truly, technically, there's not going to be any. No one's going to really get hurt, but they're going to have a fake eye.
This might be.
It'd be very interesting.
Well, no. This might be me admitting that they're finally going a little too far with the cinematography matches.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am willing to judge you based on the world situation that we're in. And if this is what you have to do, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to be a little bit less judgmental about cinematic matches because they can't do much else right now for a lot of situations.
Yeah, seeing
anyway,
who loses the eye. I mean that's could be.
There's the rumor out there that Ray is working without a contract.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
So maybe this gets rid of Ray. But if Dominic's going to become a superstar, we
need Ray?
Well, but how does Dominic Mysterio have a contract but Ray Mysterio doesn't? Nothing against Dominic's athleticism and what he could be. He's not his dad yet.
No, he's not.
Not even freaking close. And if it's Seth, I swear to God, if Seth don't come out with an eye patch after he loses and become the one-eyed Messiah,
And if it is him, he can do it. I think he'll be able to pull that gimmick off really well.
Or are you going to take Seth off of TV and send him home to Becky for a little while, because obviously Becky's at home by herself a lot of the time, and you
possibly,
know, yeah. I don't know. This is a match that I can see continuations either way. For those of you who don't know why Austin Theory has not been on tapings the last couple of weeks, he was named during the Speak Out movement, and that's why WWE has not been featuring him on TV. For those of you who are like, but Matt Riddle made the WWE aware of his situation
what he was doing. Yep,
when he got signed. So once again, this goes back to what I said about, and yes, I'll say the name because he's now apparently running across the indies with the WWE Cruiserweight title, Enzo Amore.
He's trying everything.
Enzo Amore did not let WWE know about his allegations before he got signed. He did not tell them. And honestly, I don't care how bad your stuff is. If you're honest with your employer from the get-go, if you sit there and you make them aware of what might happen, I feel like Enzo Amore and Matt Riddle are the yin and yang of what happens when you do that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Enzo Amore is a prime example of if you lie to your employer or you just never tell your employer about something, then you don't get a job. Matt Riddle is, if you come to, and yeah, everyone can sit there and say, well, Matt Riddle's only telling his side of the story. Vince McMahon's a goddamn billionaire. And he's not going to stick with a guy who's got this kind of allegation if he doesn't have some form of belief or proof that Matt Riddle is innocent. So,
yeah,
that's my Raw and SmackDown sort of idea here, but again, also, can somebody tell me why Buddy Murphy is basically nobody right now? Buddy Murphy carried, and okay, this might sound crazy, but I think Buddy Murphy carried the Cruiserweight division the same way Bobby Roode carried NXT through that little lull period.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Bobby Roode was a great NXT champion.
Yes, he was.
But I don't think he got on a lot, A, because it was still on the network, and B, a lot of the stars had moved to the main roster. So Bobby was kind of stuck there for a little while until probably Shinsuke came in. So I mean, but I don't know what you're doing. Buddy Murphy, so talented, reinvented himself from that tag team guy.
Maybe it'll do something here soon after this pay-per-view or something, hopefully.
Yeah. So anyway, we kind of went over the eye for an eye match. What are your thoughts about this going in? I mean, how's the story been told to you?
I think they're doing a great job. I mean, they're involving Dominic and everything, kind of bringing him in. I think it's great. I mean, it is something that they could do here, and it could, however it ends, it could go into another match at the greatest show in SummerSlam. I mean, it could go there and end at SummerSlam and then go from there. I mean, Seth could still be on, and then at SummerSlam, that's where he can make a dramatic exit, kind of, and go home with Becky for a little while and come back. But
well, the other thing is we all know that there's been an issue with cases and health at the Performance Center recently. I mean, we've all seen the news on that. I mean, Seth's been there a lot. Is it really good to send him home to a pregnant young woman?
Well, if he goes somewhere to be quarantined for 2 weeks and then goes.
By the way, that's a little spin-off here. I feel like we'd be remiss to not give a shout-out to Eric and Sarah Logan. Congratulations on finding out that they're going to have their first child soon.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
Being a dad, finding out the first time, it's the greatest thing ever.
And the biggest reason why I think that I should just immediately say this and be a side note, I didn't want to make a huge topic because obviously it's not as big as Becky's. I mean, that's just the way it works. But I don't think that Sarah Logan should not be given the same amount of love, respect, and joy that Becky got. I mean, it's an amazing thing to do. God bless you both. Hopefully everything works out health-wise, and our best love here on the show to Sarah Logan. Maybe we'll see you back when it's over. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But
yeah,
congratulations, and I hope everything works out as wonderful and healthy as it can for both women. But yeah, no, congratulations to Sarah and Eric on finding out they're going to have a kid as well.
Yeah. We'll talk more about a little bit more SmackDown recap here.
Hold on.
What else you want to talk about?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, the one thing that is in, and we talked about Riddle, he debuted.
Yep.
He beat AJ. Now this week, He gets a title shot.
That was the funniest thing for me.
That's very interesting.
That was the funniest thing for me. It was like AJ was like, Matt Riddle, who did he ever beat? And the woman giving the interview was like, I beat you 2 weeks ago. And AJ just flips out. Because I was like, AJ, he beat you.
Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's great.
No, that's gonna be really cool. The tag team scene is looking really nice. We still have one more match to do for Horror Show, but it's a SmackDown show, or match. So we're gonna finish up SmackDown and lead into it. So I think SmackDown again. Can I go back to something here?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I've said this before on the show. I'm gonna say it again. Jeff Hardy would not be involved in this stuff. I'm putting a disclaimer. Jeff Hardy don't need the WWE anymore, okay? Jeff Hardy would not be doing this if he didn't agree to a lot of what's happening. Because here's the deal. You can force a wrestler to talk about his family once in a while as long as it's not derogatory. But you ain't going to force someone who's an alcoholic and has been through hell and back with his family. You're not going to make him do this stuff. Because here's the deal. Everyone's got a tipping point. And I feel like you specifically, Leroy, you always talk about it so much with your kids. I feel like that many pot shots at your kids would probably make you snap at some point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, that or, pot shots at my mom or something, somebody that I love and care about to be like, hey, and yeah.
So again, I don't think you're going to be able to say in Jeff's face on live national television over and over again, look at what you put your daughters through. I don't think Jeff's going to be able to take that unless he's okay with this being a part of his story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how the bar fight's going to work. I mean, we talked about it. Is it going to be cinematic? Is it not? I don't know. But Jeff and Sheamus, it's made a lot of sense so far. It's been entertaining. I've enjoyed it. I think it's deserved a little more time on SmackDown, but they've done a fairly decent job. I can't hate on it.
Oh no, I can't. And it could end at this pay-per-view, and they can move on, or they could keep going. I don't know where else they could keep it going, because kind of the bar fight
Well, Sheamus has got one.
Kind of ends it.
Well, Sheamus has got one. If Jeff wins, rubber match maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but now getting back to the horror show, the match that is basically creating the horror for the show. Definitely. Which has been built on Raw or on SmackDown very well, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, they've done a great job.
The swamp fight between the Universal Champion Braun Strowman, non-title, versus, of course, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. And I specify Eater of Worlds because, again, despite the fact everyone says, oh, they're just copying Matt Hardy and his multiple personality, this makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
Braun has his... Okay, everyone's like, well, they didn't bring back the Eater of Worlds for Daniel Bryan or Finn Balor. That's because they didn't need to. They went straight to the Fiend with that. Braun Strowman was in the Wyatt family. Braun Strowman has a lot more history with the Louisiana redneck version of Bray Wyatt than I think even more Daniel Bryan. Now, Daniel Bryan had more time with Bray Wyatt, back and forth, but Braun was there. He was inside. He was part of everything. So, meh.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. I'm saying that meh for like the fans who are like, they're just copying. No, it makes sense why Braun needs to go through all the Bray Wyatts before he gets to the Fiend.
Definitely, yeah. He's trying to bury everything.
Yeah.
I mean, very good. I mean, most likely he is going to win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's going to bury it and eliminate the Eater of Worlds.
But that just leaves then.
That leaves the Fiend.
Yeah. So, I definitely see Braun defeating these versions of Bray. The question is that but then the question is, then does the Fiend take back the title? Or does Braun beat the Fiend, bury all the demons, but then Bray Wyatt's just been beaten 3 times in a row, and what does Bray do going forward? Because
I don't think they would do that. I mean, the Fiend has to win, I would think.
Okay.
I don't know for the title.
Yeah.
But he has to win. You know, I would think so.
Okay. No, and that's actually a very good take. So Leroy, before we get into a couple of things here, Leroy, you have a special little day in wrestling history and a couple of birthdays for us today, don't you?
Oh yeah, we do. Birthdays wise, and I'll apologize. Last week, I did an error. Adam Cole, I did the wrong year. He's 31, not 28.
You're apologizing for your mistake, but I feel like Adam would prefer you.
I know. I made him younger, but I apologize for the people that.
But you made him older, first of all.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Your correction makes him older.
Yeah, just a couple years, not bad. Still young, many years to do it. 2 birthdays today, and then over the weekend we had one big one, and I have to say this one just because of who he is and where he's from. Sean Walton, good old Minnesota boy, 48, X-Pac.
There we are.
It's his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And Akira Hakuda. Well, she's 52.
Okay.
So she's a great Japanese female wrestler there.
Yep.
And then, over the weekend, just the other day, Brock Lesnar. Good old Minnesota boy, just like Sean.
Well, technically a North Dakota boy who was a Minnesota transport.
Yeah, I know.
Who's now Canadian. Yeah. So
we'll take him. It's pretty close.
From North Dakota to Minnesota to
Canada.
All right. Cool.
He's 43 yesterday.
Doesn't look.
Oh, that's it.
Brock Lesnar. We've talked about his physical dominance on the show. I don't know how many times, but
good old country boy.
We could talk about Brock Lesnar being dominant every show, and I still feel like we're doing a disservice to how good Brock Lesnar actually is.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things to go with it. Let's see here. Well, they have rumors about different things for SummerSlam's coming up.
Yep.
And of course they have the Fiend in there. But
did you have anything for this day in wrestling history, or was it just the birthday?
There wasn't too much.
Okay.
No. But SummerSlam, most likely the tag team championships are going to be, even though they had the New Day against Cesaro, I think they might finish it up at SummerSlam. It was a little disappointing the way they ended it.
No. I was going to say disappointing. That was a disqualification anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, they can do that.
They're not done.
But this one thing that that I have to, and I can say, I can do it now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It dealing with Drew McIntyre that I told you was Vince Russo had a quote, and I'm quoting Vince Russo on this.
Interesting.
Yes, you'll love this. He says, "Got to be honest with you. Pandemic, fans, no fans. This has to be the worst booking of a champion I've ever seen. Drew McIntyre could be a movie star. This guy that has all of the tools. They've done nothing. They have done nothing."
What do you mean they've done nothing with him?
Yeah.
He's been booked to look strong. He's been booked to have a personality. I don't think they've booked a world champion this well in a long time, because Drew is not, even with Drew's firing, even with his journey back, he's not being booked as sympathetic. So Vince Russo can suck my left nut for that comment, because the fact is that I don't. What more do you want out of Drew McIntyre? He's big, he's strong, he looks good, he's got a personality, he's cutting decent promos, he's involved. First of all, he hasn't the title that long. The worst booking of a world champion. The dude's had it for what, 2 months?
Yeah, not that long.
Jesus criminy.
Oh yeah.
Look, just because Vince Russo might have a stupid idea, or B, think more modern wrestling, which is, I want the payoff every single Monday. No. It's just, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to feel. But in my opinion, Drew McIntyre, for the situation that we're in, it's been done fantastically, because Drew has come off the only way he should. Badass, amazing, great. That's how he's come off. That's what he is. I don't understand how you say that, when the fact is that you can't book him too much better right now, because again, he's exactly what he should be. It's not, Drew has a sympathetic story, but nothing about Drew tells you I'm a sympathetic champion.
No.
Drew wants people to get in there and kick his ass as much as he whips their ass.
And here's another tidbit I found.
Okay.
This lovely thing. That it isn't a definite thing. It may or may not happen. It's been nominated before, but Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite, yes, they've all been nominated this year for Outstanding Structured Reality Program category. They're in the category. It does not mean they're going to be part of the nominees when it happens in September. But yes, our shows plus that.
Somebody considers AEW structured?
I guess.
This is for an Emmy?
Like the daytime Emmy stuff, like whatever,
Boy, I know that the Academy Awards have been a little bit off with who wins in the last few, let's say, decades. But my God, they actually think Spot Monkey Wrestling is considered structured.
Well, they put him in there just because Raw and SmackDown have not ever won this. They've been in the talks of getting this. But now it's back again, we'll see,
Is that reality show? What the hell are they up against? Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Freaking anything on MTV? This
Bachelor.
Garbage crap that I would honestly rather sit through Spot Monkey than sit through half of these made-up reality shows that are just people being told to be bad people to begin with when they're not actually. Again, I don't want to talk about reality TV because of what recently happened with Hana Kimura. And her mother actually coming out and saying that she was told by the producers of the show, be mean, smack him in the face.
Yeah.
No. I just, if they win, cool. It's more eyes on the wrestling business, but you're telling me here that they should win every year because the fact is that they're reality television that's actually entertaining. You really think the Kardashians have had that many issues happen on a daily basis? No. Shit's fabricated. Yes, our shit's fabricated too, but our shit's meant to be fabricated. No one's telling you it's real. They're trying to sell it to you like it's real, but no one's telling you this shit's real. Since when have we even been a reality show? We've been a reality show before reality TV was a thing, but since when have we been in that category?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many years I've been doing this and saying this, but yeah.
God. Anyway.
All right.
What else you got?
Well, the one thing that they talked about is the Women's Evolution Week that they're doing.
Okay.
It's been 5 years. July 13th, Becky Lynn, Charlotte, and Sasha were on Raw. And
I'm going to throw a page in there.
Well,
I'm going to throw a page in there.
And that's what they had to, but they're going to be highlighting all of that all week long on every social media, digital channels that WWE has all week.
Now, I think it's important to talk about this because people need to understand. We talked about it with Becky. We talked about it a lot on the show. But for those of you who might just be tuning in who don't know, women's wrestling was never taken seriously for the longest time. Women were valets. They were not a part of the show. If a woman got pregnant the way Becky did back in, let's say, the 70s or 80s, they would have replaced her ass in 5 minutes with the next woman that walked through the door.
Oh yeah, they definitely would have.
I'm sorry to say that, and it's 2020, and everyone's going to get offended by what I say. Not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be like, "You just..." No, I'm giving you a history lesson. The wrestling business has never been a female-dominated thing. I would say up until now. Now, Kenny Omega and AEW are kind of setting it back 10 years, but I'm not here to.
Well, let's not worry about those guys.
But the thing about it is that there's a lot of, and this is why I said the Hall of Fame is very difficult for women before the women's evolution, because it's a lot like wide receivers in the NFL. You get plenty of why Chris Carter waited 12 years to get, or plus years to get into the Hall of Fame, I'll never understand.
No, me neither.
But I can't deny the guys who went in before him weren't worthy of the Hall of Fame too. Do I think Randy Moss should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because while Chris may have had some better numbers than Moss in certain areas, not all of them, Moss was a specific talent. He was an outlier. He's the only guy in the history of the league, in my opinion, that if he had a better head on his shoulders, if he had thought a little bit more about how much he liked football as opposed to just being special, I think Randy Moss would have beaten Jerry Rice's records in 10 years and would never have looked back. I mean,
he would have, definitely.
He would have been absolutely phenomenal. But the thing about it is that there's a logjam of divas. Not women, yes, but divas. There's a logjam of women who were in the diva era. When you were valets, you were out there to look good. A lot of your wrestling tights were meant to make you look nice, not be necessarily able to wrestle in.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said when you give the Hall of Fame to women like the Bella Twins, they were at the top of a division that, yes, was not necessarily cared about as much, but they were still at the tops of what they did. They were still up there. And, you know, you've got a little girl and you want her to look up to these women for everything that they accomplished, but you also want to make sure that she's aware of what they ended up having to go through just to get to this point. Because again, we put these women on a pedestal now, the four horsewomen, Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha. We act like they're the main event, but we treat them as equals now, not as better, I would say, closer to equals. I mean, I would say they put on some of the best matches of the decade, but the thing is,
they have.
But it's just they're being more equal on the show, but it wasn't always like that. And you know, Clara can look up to Becky, Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte, but we need to make sure that she realizes what Trish had to go through, what Lita had to go through, what Molly Holly had to go through. All these, what Mae Young had to go through. I mean, it was not okay for Mae Young to be Mae Young when she was at her physical peak in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, Mae Young, God rest her soul, she loved this business.
Oh.
Absolutely gave her life to it and was a constant professional from, day one. And so, I mean, to all the women out there who may or may not listen to the show, I don't know, you have a chance to make a decent amount of main event money now because of the women who built the division, the divas. I know they thought diva was a dirty word, they wanted to get rid of it. I celebrate it. I celebrate the word diva because they made what is now what it is. You can't build a house without a foundation. Well, you can, but
it doesn't work very well.
Well, that's what we call Vince Russo booking, everybody.
That is true.
You put the cart before the horse and nobody knows what the hell's going on. But anyway, I mean, like, for you as a dad, what does it mean for your daughter to be able to look up to not just the women who are now badasses, but the women who kind of had to prove that they could be badasses?
I think it'd be great. And when she gets a little bit older, I can show her and I can, she can learn all about that and say, yeah, the reason why you're such a fan of Charlotte and such a fan of Becky is because of what everybody did before they showed up.
It's like, look, I get it. They had bra and panties matches. They had mud wrestling. I get it, but here's the deal. This goes back to what Willie said on a previous show about how Booker's got to go with the white guy because that's what the fans wanted. It's not a racist thing. It's not a sexist thing. The audience wasn't ready for Bayley versus Sasha at TakeOver Brooklyn. They weren't ready for that in 2005, 2007.
No, and it's in the last 5 years.
What they wanted was bikini contests. They wanted these women to be sex symbols. They didn't care if they could wrestle, but that's just, look, that's not anyone's fault but maybe the audience, who didn't give a rip about anything. Whereas now, Sasha and Bayley, despite being annoying to everyone, including my girlfriend, they can take 20 minutes of the show and be part of the show and be taken seriously. Because the women's evolution... But again, I don't think it's because of the women's evolution. Everyone's like, oh, the women's evolution is the Bellas. It's Becky. It's Charlotte. It's Paige. No, it's... I hate to say it. It's none of you. It's Trish. It's Lita who main evented Raw for the first time. It's Molly Holly. It's Victoria. It's Tori Wilson, who may have not been the best wrestler. The Candice Michelles of the world. The Beth Phoenix. That's the women's evolution. Evolution doesn't happen without some story before the actual evolution is shown. There was a Trish Stratus before there was an Alexa Bliss. there was an incredibly talented, physical specimen women like a Gail Kim, like an Awesome Kong, like I would say Jacqueline and Jazz before there was a Charlotte. Now Charlotte's a one of a kind. I ain't gonna sit here and deny that.
She is.
But I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to make everyone believe that I am a ally to women in feminism. I'm giving you what wrestling is. Because if anything, if you want to come at me from a feminazi perspective, I've been kind of insulting to a lot of women. From a feminazi perspective.
Yes, from that. Yes, definitely.
Not a feminist perspective. But the thing about it is that, and I'll just say it, and if this ever gets picked up by someone and they want to use it as a soundbite like Sammy Guevara was, and they want to use it against me, fine. But like, here's the deal. Nobody gave a shit about women's wrestling until about 2015.
That's about it.
Nobody gave a rat's hairy behind. But you want to know something? Trish and Lita still put on classics.
Oh.
Trish and Lita still went out there and did the job that they were supposed to do, and they still put themselves over and got themselves popular. I mean, like, the list of women that I could list off that I haven't already on this certain rant or this podcast, I mean, I'm missing so many amazingly beautiful, athletic, talented, great speaking, just so many different women who have done so much for women's sports, who have done so much for women in general. And, it's like, I know we have so many other issues in our country right now and in our world, but you're going to Saudi Arabia. You're going to the Middle East, which we all know, and this isn't a shot at their religion, but we all know how their religion feels about women. You cover them up except for the eyes. You can't see her face unless you're married. We know that. That's not a shot. Now, whether I believe in it or not is irrelevant. That's what they believe. Leroy and I have talked about it 1,000 times in the show. Leroy is a very devout Christian. He loves the good book and all this stuff, and I give two hairy rats' asses about it. But we get past that, and we agree to disagree, and we both have agreeings, and we both have disagreements. But the thing about it is that the first match in the Middle East wasn't TNA, even though they kind of claimed it was the first women's title match. It was, I think it was Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks, and yes, they were covered from the neck down, but 20 years ago, there ain't no way you were going to convince anybody in Saudi Arabia to put that match on. It was never going to happen.
And it was a house show. And then, after, I think it was their second or third one that they had over there, they actually had
Lacey Evans versus
and
Natalya. Two women that necessarily weren't the biggest star names at the time, but they were going to put on a hell of a match.
And they did.
And again, Lacey Evans, God bless her, she's a real life badass. She defended this country. She meaning a woman. She was Marine SWAT. To be a member of the SWAT team for the Marines. God damn, y'all. But it's just the women's evolution. I actually kind of get a somewhat bad taste in my mouth because I feel like because it was hashtag Give Divas a Chance. Okay, that's cool, but hashtag Give Divas a Chance changed the phrase diva into a dirty term, and now it's women's wrestling, which again is not bad. I'm not ripping on that. But diva, these women that were divas, just because they never got to in their physical primes show what they did. Ivory's another one. I mean, I'm just gonna keep throwing.
Well, yeah, there's so many of them out there. Yeah,
but it's just you want to tell me they don't deserve the Hall of Fame. They broke down barriers in this business. Now, whether or not they were there to see the fruits of that labor, it's not always how that works. And again, I am in no way saying that these professional athletes are as good as our men and women who have passed away. I'm not saying that. But the example holds true. You die on the front line, you don't see the freedom that you fight for. You you don't see what your country became after you fight a war. If you passed away, they didn't get to see what wrestling could do for them until it was too late. I'm not disrespecting our men and women. I'm not saying that that's an equal statement, but it's a sort of on paper. It makes it. Does that make sense to you on paper?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I said I've watched it from the heyday all the way up, and I have seen the evolution all the way up till now. I mean, women's wrestling, I'm glad they're highlighting it more. I'm glad it's more on TV because they do a damn good job. They took years of trying to figure it out, and not the guys, not the behind the scenes, all the girls, on how they should do it and how they should perform, and the ones they have right now they're awesome.
And what's really impressive to me is a guy who I think is the future in terms of booking in this business. Triple H supports it. He does.
Oh, yeah.
He gives a damn.
Yeah.
And, that's why you can have two girls who are both homegrown WWE talents, whether or not they had any career beforehand or not. You can have two girls not only debut main event a pay-per-view, but they can debut it in a 30-minute contest that is still one of the best matches of the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. And the other thing about it is, it was in Brooklyn. And people say, why does that matter? I'm like, dude, you do realize the hardest crowds in the world to get over are those New York City type crowds.
Oh, yes.
Remember what they say, Madison Square Garden. If you're over in Madison Square Garden, you'll be over anywhere else in the world. They have higher expectations. They expect you to be top-notch because that's the world's most famous arena. You're in that same town, whether or not you're in the same borough as Madison Square Garden, because the thing was at the Barclays Center at the time.
I think so, yeah.
But I mean, wrestling's regional. It's been that way since the territories. So when you got two girls main eventing a show in your backyard, in the shadow of Madison Square Garden, where you made your living, Vince McMahon, Madison Square Garden, booking all that stuff.
Yes.
That's where his family originated from, all that kind of stuff. I mean, goddamn, to think about we came from an era where Fabulous Moolah politically kept the title for 40 years, pimped out her girls to other promotions, to now they're main eventing shows in New York City. Like, goddamn, dude, you gotta...
Oh, yeah, they main event that, and then main event at a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean...
Gonna be honest, it wasn't bad. I'm glad they did, because Becky made the moment.
Yes.
But I don't think this means women should get it every year. I don't think it means they should get...
I don't think it should be every year.
This match was different. I don't know if you're ever going to get the combined three people that you had in that match. You had one of the greatest of all time in Charlotte. You had the upstart Becky, who everyone was rooting for. Everyone was rooting for. And then you had Ronda Rousey, another woman who deserves nothing but respect for what she did for women in the sport. But that match made sense of why it was the main event. I think it lived up to the hype of the main event. The pin is still something that yada yada.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But honestly, the more you go back and look at it, the less worse it looks. It's actually aged better than I thought it was going to. In the moment, I was a little bit meh because I was right here in your living room doing it. But no, I just, this women's evolution, which is still has a long way to go in my opinion, but at the same time, how much farther can you go? You're getting main events when your feud is big enough. You're getting it. Now, I don't know what the pay scale is. I'm not here to argue that. But on TV, it doesn't get much equal than what the women are getting.
Oh, no, I totally agree. I'm waiting for...
You get 20 minutes now.
Maybe.
You get the chance to cut a promo. You get to be alone out there. You don't have to be followed by a man in order to give a promo. You don't have to be that. And again, some people wonder Selena Vega. Selena Vega is part of this because she might not be a wrestler, but she can talk.
Oh my, yes.
She can talk for days.
She is good.
She's also a badass. She can go.
Oh,
but here's the deal. She's in charge. And when she speaks, these guys listen.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, do people not realize how big of a star in Mexico Andrade was before he came to WWE?
I don't know.
He was the leader of Los Inglerables. Yeah. So actually, Naito became Naito because he was in a group led by Andrade. So, I mean, you got top guys who are listening to this woman, and whether or not they're told to or not, they make you believe it.
Oh yeah. She has her own persona, her
yeah.
whole. I mean, she is like,
And-
boom.
yeah.
When she's on the TV, and he was like, "Hey, excuse me," boom, you hear, you go, "Yeah,
It pops.
we're gonna listen to you."
And a woman and a woman that I don't think a lot of people are gonna give any credit to, Vicky Guerrero. Vicky. Vicky, see, here's the deal. I remember when Edge said goodbye, and he said thank you to her, and they still booed him. So they booed her during his friggin' retirement speech, and he just laughed, and he was like, that shows how good she is. I'm out here thanking her for all the years she gave me, and you're still booing her ass. So
I hate. She was a great woman to hate on TV because she did so good.
Which, by the way, it proves how good she was because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, she was the wife of one of our all-time favorites.
Yes, she was.
And we still hated her ass, even though she was using the same last name.
Uh-huh.
The memories of Vicky Guerrero, despite the cougar thing, which still makes me cringe a little bit. No offense to Eddie, rest in peace. I love you to death. That's your wife, bro. Man, I'm serious. Right now, I want you to think. Name someone who stuck to and played a character better than Vicky Guerrero in the 21st century.
Females, no. I mean, her come out here saying, "Excuse me," and then when The Rock sang her a song on Raw.
You know you've made it when they got The Rock.
Yes, that was. She's like, "Oh, this is so nice," and it's like, "You look ugly tonight." And
you look horrible tonight.
Oh my, that was such beautiful.
But yeah, no. I love what it's become. I love where it's going, but I also love where it was. You know, I mean, I enjoyed those matches with Trish and Lita. I enjoyed the fact that they actually had a rivalry that went on for all those years. And, you know, we've had a lot of fun on the show. Leroy's enjoyed my screaming, my yelling, my pissed offedness, all that kind of stuff. But
he gets all that aggression out, which is great.
But we got a couple more things here, but we're going to save until next time because I think that this is... I can't think of a better way to end this show than just being like 5 years... glad of what's happened. For those of you who may have started watching because of the Women's Revolution, do what I do with my girlfriend. Show her the old days. Show her what they had to do to get the main event at the Barclays Center. I mean...
Yeah, God knows what they're going to put on. I mean, they're going to show everything possible with the females and highlight
and now you have
women's
this Japanese
all
influence.
Year. Oh,
where a lot of these girl Japanese... Because, I mean, again, we talked about on the Minority Show about how Japanese wrestlers could always get work. The females couldn't.
Yeah. No,
that was an issue. And now you've got Asuka, you got Kairi Sane, where I don't know where that's going, because I didn't expect her to be on Raw, but okay, she's on Raw. But anyway, you got Asuka, you got Kairi, you got Io Shirai, you got Hikaru Shida, you got I'll say Riho, even though she's like all of 85 pounds.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's just... I can't wait to see where it goes. And rest in peace to Hana Kimura. You could have been the ace of Stardom, and you could have made something in this business. I'm so sad you couldn't. This evolution is as much for you as every other woman who broke their backs for so many years. And this evolution is built on the back of a lot of women whose names you may never hear. And
definitely. Yeah. I'd say get out and watch it. You pay for it. There's a free version of watching the network now, so you can get a lot of content just from that, and I hope they're going to be highlighting that on the free content. So
anyway,
definitely get out there and enjoy it.
So anyway, from all of us here at 13 Cards Subject to Change, all of us being me and the fat penguin next to me, love you there, buddy.
Oh, waddle.
There we go. Anyway, once again, like and subscribe to us on both Facebook and YouTube, Spotify as well. We're still on iTunes, I believe.
Everything's there. Yep.
Thank you all so much for listening, and y'all have a wonderful day.